I will not take it out on the viewers. It's Aiden's fault. The viewers did nothing wrong. Welcome back, everybody, to the Words from the Nerds podcast. I am joined by my lovely co-hosts, Charlie and Aiden. We are here to do the typical, which is talk about news, Agatha, and Penguin. But we also this week get to talk about Venom: The Last Dance, the third and final film in the Venom trilogy. So expect a good episode. I'm excited to talk about it. Usually we hold off our thoughts on projects, especially new movies that come out, but I think we all kind of know collectively where we stand on some stuff, so it should be an interesting discussion. But we do have some awesome news to get into as well, with some fun reactions to some Marvel news. Tons of Marvel stuff came out this past week. I honestly forgot that all of it happened just so quickly back to back. So lots of fun stuff coming up. A couple of housekeeping things. If you want to jump to a specific section in today's episode, you can follow the timestamps along in the YouTube video. Also, if you want to send us a text message, you can do that through any of our audio listening platforms. It will literally directly message us, and we will read it out on the following episode. So if you have comments, questions, concerns, compliments, we'll take all of it. So feel free to do that. We definitely encourage it. It's one of the most direct ways that you can interact with us. Of course, there's also leaving a comment on a YouTube video. Feel free to do that, as well as liking, subscribing, giving us a rating on the audio listening platforms. Make sure you just check all of those boxes, because it makes us feel good, makes us happy, keeps us doing what we're doing. With that being said, Aiden, how are you doing today, sir?
You know, can't complain. I'm excited to get into this episode. Got a lot of news, a lot of speculating that we have to do, covering another movie. Should be jam-packed. And, that's exactly how I like my podcast episodes. So I can't complain over here. Just got done watching Venom, Agatha today. Excited to see the double finale tonight. So, I'm doing great, man.
Good to hear. And Mr. Charlie, Mr. Charles Cubson himself.
Charles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm doing good, man. It's another great day in the world. I too am excited for this episode. There are lots of thoughts on everything this week. And I'm excited to share those thoughts with you two and everybody else watching and listening. And, I guess we'll see if those thoughts are all constructive, but we'll find out, I guess, huh? First, let's get into that news, huh, Benji?
Yes, sir. And are we starting off with the video reaction, or are we starting off with everything else?
Let's go ahead and kick it off with the reaction, I say.
For surely.
So this is a video released by Marvel Studios that is a look ahead at what's coming up on Disney Plus.
Are you guys both in?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I brought you here to offer you an opportunity.
Oh, I smell what you're stepping in. It's gonna get good.
It's been some time, hasn't it? You've come up in the world.
I could say the same about you.
I wonder if your darker half would agree.
Oh, let's fucking go, baby.
Oh,
What
man.
lawyer are you?
They really
Dude, my God, it never gets old.
Miss me.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, nice PowerPoint.
Undeniable.
Anyone who's ever accomplished anything iconic in life has had to do some questionable things to get it done.
Up for an adventure?
The battle they will sing about for ages.
You can slate whenever you're ready.
Simon Williams, reading for Wonder Man. I was born to play this character.
And we both have a lot riding on this. You better not mess this up.
I know.
Dude.
That looks sick.
I am Marvel Jesus.
We have a long road ahead of us. Much to do.
Oh my god, are you
Okay.
fucking kidding me?
Oh my God!
Damn, son. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Obviously, Daredevil is the is the shiner from that. That is oh my gosh, man. That's
Should
like the
we-
first official footage we've seen of it.
Yeah.
Too.
It is, yeah. Because we,
for the
we
public,
watched,
I guess.
Yeah, we watched the leak trailer, but
Yeah.
should we just go and give like brief thoughts on each thing in order of like release date, maybe?
Yeah.
Some will be more brief than others, but
Yeah. Yeah, we can just
Yeah,
talk
for,
about TV Slate right there.
I think that then puts What If season 3 first, then, because that is coming apparently in December of this year. So I think we haven't really talked to each other much about What If season 3. So for me personally, season 1 I thought really was not good, with the exception of the Doctor Strange episode. And season 2 stepped it up a lot with just the idea of the what if scenarios. I thought that they handled those way better, rather than just like, what if Peggy, instead of like, what if Peggy was Captain America instead of Steve, which is all the Captain Carter one is in my mind. So it's a lot of the what if scenarios are just so like, they don't really go for it. And I still think that they don't to a certain extent. Season 2 did a better job though. I can't remember. I think it was like episode 2 or something, but it was like the episode centered around if Peter wasn't ever picked up or something by, or if Yondu actually did deliver Peter to Ego. That, I think that's what the episode was. And that, yeah, I think is a cool idea, because that shows exactly how everything changes, what the Avengers had to be like fast tracked and everything like that. It was a lot cooler. And I hope that there's more episodes like that in season 3. I am somewhat excited for it. It's unfortunately the last season, which like it seems really strange when the whole marketing of the first season, at least, infinite possibilities in the multiverse, and we're stopping after 3 seasons. So like, it's, I'm okay with it, because I don't super love the show, but I think it's still a cool thing that I don't think the true potential of it has been tapped yet. And I hope that season 3 brings us that potential. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've talked even about season 1 very much. It's not really a show that I feel like most people talk about. I think season 1 was talked about upon its original release, but then it kind of just like dropped off. I'm kind of in the same boat. Lots of hit or miss episodes. I was a big fan of the Doctor Strange episode. I liked some of them were pretty entertaining, like the Marvel Zombies episode. I enjoyed quite a bit. But like, nothing too crazy or blowing me away. Especially now that they're doing an entire show on it, which we'll touch on. It's like, okay, then why was that a single episode of a show where you could pick so many different things? But I never watched season 2 of What If. I haven't seen any of the episodes, so I'll definitely catch up on it before season 3 comes out. And I didn't know that this was meant to be the final season. So It is interesting, because I feel like, if anything, that's just like not something that needs to be said, because you could just like release season 3, don't say whether there's more or whether there's not, And then, later on, if they decide to, they can keep going. Because now it would feel weird if, 4 or 5 years from now, they announced a season 4 after we thought the show was canceled. It's like, just leave it open-ended because it really is open-ended. Like, that's kind of the whole point. So, yeah, I'm excited to, especially if you're saying that season 2 is better than season 1. I mean, I was a fan of season 1 in the sense that, like, on an individual episode basis, it gave me enough at least to, like, keep me entertained, even if none of it was anything crazy. So if you're saying that they utilize things even better as they moved into season 2, then I'm excited to catch up and then obviously see where that can lead in season 3.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Ben. I never watched season 2, and I mean, I got far better animated things to watch, FYI. But
Oh
I
my
never watched
God.
season 2. I never got around to any of. Like, I don't even think I watched Echo either. So yeah, I'm pretty much just gonna echo what y'all had said. I think especially like the week to week for season 1, which I've talked about on this show before, on this podcast before. When I got to that Party Thor episode, and I had waited all week for the next episode to come out, and then it was a Party Thor, and it was finished, and I was like, all right, got 2 more weeks, 2 more episodes to wait for until the finale. What am I doing here? Like, watching this, dude, this isn't good. So season 2 had came around, and I know, Charlie, you had mentioned this one's way better, you got to watch it. Brandon had even told me a couple times, like, hey, it's really good. There's a couple episodes I like a lot. I just never got around to it. I did like Blade as Moon Knight in there. I thought that was really sick. The evil Wakandans, it looked like, too. Yeah, it's a bummer that this is the last season. It's just a lot of cool things that I want to see explored, and I'm excited to...
That one might actually be, sorry to interrupt you. That one, I think those might have been from the Marvel Zombie show actually instead.
The Blade one definitely.
The
Really?
Blade one, and then the evil Wakandans. I think those are zombie Wakandans. Yeah.
Well, because zombies, I'm pretty sure is still set in. I mean, it's still set in a what if universe. So
Well, yeah, it is. But I don't think it's going to be part of season 3. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So they can
it's going to be
do
a separate thing.
They can do what if concepts and what if characters inside of the Marvel Zombie show.
That makes sense why the animation looks the same.
Yeah.
Regardless, lots of cool things in there. We can touch back to that later. But yeah, I'm excited to check out season 2. I hope they have some really cool concepts for season 3. Just, I'll check it out. Whatever, but I don't have a lot of thought on it beyond that.
Just like you two check season 2, I'm sure you'll check it out. These fucking kids, man.
Okay.
These kids, chat.
Moving along to January 25th, where we feels like finally getting the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated series, which I'll just go ahead and start us off with thoughts. I feel like, I mean, I gotta just admit, I haven't seen any of the like classic animated Spider-Man shows. I didn't grow up watching them. I know Charlie is a big fan of
piss
some
me
of
off
those.
so much this episode, bruh. Both of you are gonna piss me off.
So this would be my first experience with an animated Spider-Man series. Obviously we only like barely got a clip, but we knew some behind the scenes stuff. I think it was like D23 last year that they revealed a bunch of costumes and characters and whatnot that would be in the show. The biggest thing I noticed with like the little teaser that we got of actual video footage is the artwork, the animation style is pretty, it seems unique from the little snippet that we got. It feels comic book like, but in a way more dumbed down and simple way than something like, say, Across the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse well, the Spider-Verse movies, they look like comic books, and they're amazing. This looks like, more classic, simplified comic books, but still in a really interesting style of animation. So that's what caught my eye, especially when you contrast it with just the other animation styles that we even see within this teaser for like What If, Marvel Zombies, and I'm sure we'll also talk about that difference with Eyes of Wakanda. That really stands out, just how different and unique they're making it look, which is really appreciated in my opinion. Like I really do appreciate that because it feels like they are willing to make each project uniquely its own thing, even to the point of the style in which it's animated. And they've proven that through every single show, through What If, through X-Men, and now it looks like moving forward, everything that's animated has its own flair to fit that specific media. The only thing that you can't really say that for is
Sorry,
The only
bro. I'm sorry. Golly.
the only thing you can't say that for is Marvel Zombies, but that's because that's based on, an episode in What If, so it makes sense that that would share animation style.
Let's hope it actually stays TVMA too. Speaking of Marvel Zombies, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it later.
They did confirm that.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. It just looks like a glorified PowerPoint. Like this shit is ass, man. And like it won't take away from, like I'm not gonna let it take away from the show. Like I will never let like bad animation, Invincible, take away from like my enjoyment of a show. Invincible season 1. Invincible season 1.
Okay.
I'll never let it take away from like my enjoyment of a show. Even like early One Piece, you compare Charlie, that clip I showed you. Like you compare early like One Piece animation to like that clip I showed you before we started recording.
Yeah, I like the art style of that, but I will say there's some of the like, just specifically like the guy when he was on the ground. And I know, sorry, audio listeners and whatnot, I'm trying to paint a picture because you guys aren't seeing what I'm talking about. But the guy that was like that was dying, and like the tears running down his face, like it looked like they like made him move like a little bit, but they weren't actually moving at some points. I don't. It's like it doesn't matter that much. That's just part of like my thing with anime, but whatever. Sorry, continue.
Hey, we got him. We got a little bit. We got a little bit of the hook on him. We got him to talk a little bit about One Piece. I got to do my due diligence. But like even stuff
Every
like that,
episode,
like
man.
like I got to do my job. It's my part. Just stuff like that. Like the early episodes of One Piece, man, the animation's rough. But like I look at that so fondly, so it's different. But I still never let that take away from my enjoyment. So if the show's good, then I don't care. And I'm willing to be open to this art style. But that little clip right there, I mean, it just I'm not the biggest fan, and it's not what I would have gone for and what I imagined for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But it's not like I'm gonna let that take away if they're telling a really good story or if they have really compelling episodes. So I'm willing to look past it right now. Kind of dropped me down a little bit, but we'll see when it comes out, and we'll be here to talk about it.
Yeah, for me, I see the animation getting a ton of hate, and like, I just don't think I've seen enough for me personally to really say that I dislike it. It's different for sure. The art style itself, I'm always a snob when it comes to that, so that I can confidently say I don't like right now. But I'm also, in the past, I've been known to say something like that, at least to myself, but then come to like it. Spectacular Spider-Man being an example. I did not like that art style when I first started watching it. Now I love it, and I think anybody else who says that it sucks is just wrong. So I hope that that's the sort of. I also didn't like Spider-Verse at first. I didn't like that animation style, that art style. So I hope that I can come around on it. Just like I hope some people maybe come around on the animation. Hayden, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be a defender for the animation. I just think that it's like it's middle of the roads. Like I can't say too much on it right now. But as for the show itself, I believe they stated that they cast Coleman Domingo as Green Goblin, which that's really cool, as Norman Osborn. I guess not Green Goblin, just Norman Osborn. So that's cool. I'm excited to see how good of a voice actor he is, because he is a great actor. I believe it's the same Spider-Man voice actor that did Spider-Man in the zombie episode of What If in season 1. And he's really good at sounding like Tom Holland. So if that's what they're going for, then cool beans. But I kind of hope that it's not, because I think that they have abandoned the idea that this is supposed to be like a earlier story in Tom Holland Spider-Man's career. So I kind of don't want him to sound like Tom Holland, make him sound like his own iteration of character. But I'm excited. I always love giving a new Spider-Man animated show a shot. The last 2 that have existed outside of Disney Plus and whatnot haven't been good. So that being Ultimate Spider-Man and then Spider-Man 2017. Ultimate Spider-Man has some good episodes, but 2017 is just awful. So I hope that this one can buck the trend of bad animated Spider-Man shows. But we'll see.
Yeah,
We will see. I'm interested because it will be my first experience with one. So
you should watch Spectacular Spider-Man before we get into that.
I've watched a couple of it, Ben. It is really good. I enjoyed it. But
Spectacular?
Yeah, but I watched there was a 7-hour YouTube video that people were talking about on TikTok, and it was like the whole show, or like the first 7 seasons. It was something like that. And they were like, if you want to watch Spectacular Spider-Man, check out this YouTube channel. They have a 7-hour long YouTube video. You can just watch the show. And so I had it.
How many
on.
seasons is it?
There's only 2. There's
only two.
Yeah, there's only 2. It got canceled after the second one because that's
Maybe...
when Marvel bought, or when Disney bought Marvel, and so that they had to shut it down.
Maybe it wasn't 7 hours, because that sounds like a lot. Anyways, I do know I did watch the Spectacular.
It's possible. I think every episode's like 20 minutes without commercials. 20 something minutes.
That's what I thought. I don't think I'll be able to find that video now. But anyways, I watched that, and I liked it a lot. It was real endearing, and I just like to see the him tackle I think I got to the lizard episode, and I thought the lizard episode was done so freaking well. And so I just
that's when he has the speech that gets thrown around in TikTok edits all the time, where he's about to drink this thing
It's so good, dude. And didn't they even do a kind of a comparison of Peter kind of being burdened with the bite, and the lizard also being burdened with it, to where he kind of had to contemplate I could take my powers away, or because they are burdening me, or I could decide to use them for.
But then because he looked at he was about to drink it, because his hand got messed up, and he was just pissed off because he missed his curfew and whatnot, got grounded. Yeah. And he was like, Spider-Man, being Spider-Man, didn't know it was going to mean all this stupid crap happening in my life. But then he looked at the newspaper or whatever, and it showed how he saved the Connors family and helped him turn back from being the lizard. And then he ended up saving the vial. It's a whole thing. But yeah, they did a cool thing. It's a really good show, man.
Yeah. I loved it.
It captures Spider-Man perfectly.
I loved it a lot. And so, yeah. And let's also not forget that the most recent animated thing that Marvel put out banged, X-Men 97. And again, I will finish that. And Brandon always gives me shit, because he's like, did y'all really revisit Joker before talking about X-Men 97? He pushes for us to talk about it, and I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, I know. But anyways, they have a good track record. This is a great character, a phenomenal superhero that could have endless stories told about him. So I'm excited.
Something that I am definitely more excited for is March 4th, where we get Daredevil Born Again. Who wants to take it away?
Let's let Charles go
I,
for it.
I am eternally excited for this damn show, man, because I can't tell you. It's like, I mean, I'm a sucker for nostalgia just as much as anybody else, and like Daredevil season 1 started when I was 15 years old. I'm now 24, almost 25. So like, it's like, well, not almost 25. Sorry, I just turned 24, but still.
Oh
Um,
my God, bro.
um, but that to have the same Daredevil coming back and the same Kingpin, and hopefully, I mean, as much as I don't like Iron Fist and yada yada yada, I love Jessica Jones and whatnot. Having them come back too. I'm not saying necessarily in this show, but just having all of this stuff return, Foggy, Karen, everything, like that's great. But setting the nostalgia of that aside, it just looks fantastic. Even just from the obviously, and I'm even gonna put aside the leak trailer that we saw. Everything in this footage looks fantastic. Watching Frank, dude, that little shot of Frank crouched behind the wall, pointing the gun at the wall, dude, about to shoot through it. That's some John Wick. Oh my god, that has me so excited, dude. I'm looking so forward to this. And watching Daredevil swing with his billy clubs for a little second. All of this is March 4th can't come soon enough, man. 2025 can't come soon enough, truthfully. Everything that we're going to be getting with this show. And also to announce, I wonder how many episodes, coming back to the Spider-Man show, I wonder how many episodes that's going to be, because it's starting at, what did it say, January 25th, like the end of January?
Yeah.
So that's going to intersect with Invincible 100%. And then we don't know when the Last of Us show is starting. Dude, we are going to be eating
Next year,
television.
yeah. With this
and
whole
movies.
slate, I just like next year is more packed than we already thought it was.
we are booked up. Like, we got shows out the wazoo.
Crazy, dude. It is so insane. But yeah, I can't even express how excited I am for Daredevil Born Again. And the little taste of Kingpin that we got in Echo this year was good, was great. Not as great as he ever was in Daredevil or anything like that, but I'm hoping for big things from this show. So
Yep.
the little bit we've gotten with Daredevil, even like, I know Ben hates this show, but She-Hulk, bro, like he was fantastic in She-Hulk. I don't care what anybody says. So if that sort of Matt Murdock carries over to this, and oh my, I gotta stop. I gotta stop. Damn, bro. He doesn't, dude. The mention of She-Hulk makes him disappear.
Yo, that was
That's
not me.
crazy.
That was not
That's
me. I forgot.
crazy, bro.
Oh no.
He can't even be on camera when
Camera
She-Hulk
got
is
a mind
mentioned.
of its own. Wow.
Oh, not again.
Wow.
PTSD.
Nah, no way. Aiden, go ahead and share
I
your
will
thoughts,
go
man.
ahead. Yeah, phenomenal. I'm still so excited. I'm still waiting for a full trailer to come out, because if I'm getting that hyped over just like little bits and pieces thrown together, I mean, oh my god, it's amazing. It's awesome. It looks as good as I could have ever imagined it to look. Again, I won't be deceived too much by trailers, but I can give credit where credit's due, and it looks fantastic. And I'm just I'm so excited to see the action, the heart, the crime world, and overall just Daredevil in this universe, in the MCU, and finally with like all of our heroes, and not just kind of a thin line to tiptoe with like how they were doing it in season 1, and the question of, is any of this canon, yada yada yada. Like, he's here, he's in the MCU, he's with our heroes. March 4th. Oh man, I mean, it's just fantastic, as you could tell by my reaction while we were watching it. Other thing is, I'm excited for Muse, I think his name is. Just them going out of the box and exploring these different Daredevil villains. while also keeping Kingpin and Bullseye, like the ones we all know and love, but also still adding more and not just being like, let's bring everyone from season 3 back and like do another retelling, or like let's just do a different storyline with them. They're taking their own creative jumps and doing some really cool things. And I think that was a Bullseye suit, like Bullseye in his own suit fighting Daredevil in that little doorway.
Oh yeah, there was like I think so.
So
I
that's
think there was a little snippet of that.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's phenomenal. Heck yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. Cannot come soon enough. It is just, it's due. It's freaking due.
I am trying to fix my camera, but um I am very excited. I'm pretty sure, which I'm gonna verify this just so that I'm not, blatantly lying. But I'm pretty sure that I had it the highest up when we originally did our ranking for anticipation. I could be wrong about that. But um let's see. I got it up right here. I had it at number 2 on my list.
Jeez.
Versus Charlie at number 3 and Aiden at number 5. So, very, very highly anticipated. I didn't grow up watching many TV shows, but oddly enough, Daredevil was one of the first TV shows that I remember watching because I had like just gotten access to Netflix through like a family account, and then I was just like, oh, there's Marvel shows on Netflix, and so I watched all of Daredevil, Defenders, Jessica Jones, just the whole lot of all of the shows and whatnot. So very fond memories, and then I was there for the release of season 3 to actually like watch it when it released, and one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It might, it. I mean, I don't even want to say might. I think it's the best superhero TV show of all time. Um, and so the fact that we've already gotten Charlie Cox back a couple of times, I was happy as a fan just to see him, even if I didn't always love the projects that he was in. And the fact that he's getting his own show, I mean, yeah, just through the roof excited. We still don't, I think, have an official confirmation on episode count. Originally, it was going to be huge when they, confirmed 2 seasons. But obviously, there was a bunch of rewrites, reshoots, a whole bunch of shenanigans behind the scenes. So we don't really know what the show's going to look like. But I think I said this even just within the last couple of weeks on an episode. But if I could pick one Marvel project next year to be just like, the slam dunk out of the park hit, it would be Daredevil. I would choose that above any of the movies being amazing. I would rather Daredevil be amazing than Fantastic Four be amazing. I'm just saying it.
That's crazy. That's
call,
crazy.
call me
No, no.
crazy, but like I genuinely, that's how much I love this character and how much I'm looking forward to the show. So, I mean, I don't think that this teaser moved the needle for me at all because I was already fully there. Already, I was all in. So, I'm just like, I'm still so ready, and I'm glad that it comes out. It feels like it comes out early in the year. It doesn't feel like we have to wait that much longer. So, very, very excited.
I will say I was doing the math here on uh, Daredevil to Ironheart, because Daredevil comes out March 4th. Ironheart is June 24th. Now they could definitely overlap. We've seen Disney Plus overlap shows before. I don't know if we've seen Marvel overlap their own MCU Disney Plus shows, but like Miss Marvel and Kenobi was going on at the same time. So, but if they are not overlapping Daredevil and Ironheart, that gives 15, if they go week to week, 1 episode a week. That's 15 episodes between Daredevil and Ironheart, but you would think, like, let's take off 3 weeks of that to kind of give it breathing room, time for marketing, time for, like, transitioning into the next show. If you take 3 weeks off of that, that's still 12 episodes. Of course, you could take more, but I would say we're looking at maybe about 9 to 12 episodes for Daredevil, if I had to guess, just based on the lineup. Because we didn't know before this, Ironheart didn't have a date. None of these had a set date, I don't think, except for Daredevil. I don't know if I had heard about Spider-Man. I definitely didn't know Wonder Man or What If season 3 was coming out this year. I mean, that's crazy. But anyways, regardless, Ironheart comes out 15 weeks later after Daredevil premieres. So I would anticipate about 9 to 12 episodes, me personally. Whatever.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be 9 because originally it was gonna be an 18 episode
18, yeah.
season, and they're splitting it now. So I think they're probably just gonna split it right down the middle. If I had to guess, 9 episodes and then 9 episodes the next season. Yeah, I think because What If? I guess I didn't really think about it, but I could have assumed that What If season 3 was gonna be this year because last year at December time is when season 2 dropped. And when season 2 ended, they posted a clip of season 3. We were like, you guys already have, like, you're already into that, which is crazy. Was crazy at the time. Speaking of What If, something I wanted to mention when we talked about it now that I just remembered, but when season 2 was coming out, I loved the rollout of that of that season because they didn't make us wait week to week. Literally, it was for I think it was like 10 days. I can't remember how many episodes. 9 days. I don't know. Every single day there was a new episode. And so I hope that continues into season 3 as well, especially with it coming out around the same time that it did last year. Holiday break. People have the time every day to sit down and do it, except for these two apparently, to watch the show. So I hope that continues. But yeah, Daredevil. Yippee. Yahoo! You don't get it, Aiden. You don't get it. You don't get the reference.
I think I'm all good, brother. Regardless.
Yippee wahoo! Is that what you
No,
said?
not the
Mario?
yippee, just the Yahoo. Yeah, it's Mario. Yeah, or it's Mario says wahoo, huh? He says wahoo. I fucked it up. I'm sorry. I'll go die. You don't get to do sounds, little Mr. No Camera Boy. You don't get to.
Oh,
Sorry, buddy.
What is
I
this?
don't know what's
Sorry, buddy.
StreamYard? What is this? StreamYard? What are we doing?
That's crazy. He
don't
blamed
know.
StreamYard for it. It wasn't even StreamYard's fault. It's crazy.
I am gonna briefly leave the call. You guys keep talking about these shows.
It's time
Well,
to go
I'm
on
sure
to
this- Oh, that's interesting,
Ironheart.
Ben. Why are you leaving when we got Ironheart and Wakanda? Ben,
Yeah,
come on, man.
that's kind of yeah. That's a little sus, bro.
Hold
That's a
up.
little sus, man. It's a little sus.
Oh no, I'm kidding.
But yeah, to go on to Ironheart, which is apparently slated for June, 2025. You know, I'm excited. I enjoyed her character in Wakanda Forever. I think we didn't get enough time with her. It was kind of a little bit shallow. She's just a really smart kid. That's all we know, and she kind of takes after Tony Stark in what he does with his suits and whatnot. I think this new suit looks much better than her suit in Wakanda Forever did. And you know, I'm excited to see. I think it's Anthony Ramos, right?
Oh,
is the villain? Yeah, I'm excited to see him as the villain in this, and yeah, it's like one of those things where going into like Agatha, I was wondering like what could this even lead to, and I guess I'll find out when we're done here. The 2 episode finale's out. Same thing, Ironheart. Like I don't know what this will build towards, if anything. Probably just, I guess, help establish her character a bit better, but which I do think is more necessary than Agatha was at the time. Not that I'm trying to continue to shit on Agatha, but I'm curious to see if this has greater implications when we get to the show for her place, I guess, in the MCU, whether it be like Young Avengers, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I think the trailers we've seen for it so far have made it look promising. It doesn't look sloppy at all. I like the idea of having Anthony Ramos in here as our villain, but like every clip we see of him, he's like trying to help Riri. And so I think it would be cool to tackle a hero who starts off, maybe we can assume, in like the crime world, and her ties to Anthony Ramos's character and what his motives are, and then kind of slowly seeing her realize what she's doing isn't right. I don't know. I think that tug of war will be cool to see. It's a different approach. And so yeah, I'm excited. I don't really have a ton of thought on it. I just yeah, this is one that I just kind of have no expectations for, which might work in my favor. And so yeah, I can't complain at all.
Did you both already share
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, on Ironheart, brother.
Well, I made it back at the right time then. Just had to
He's like,
restart
"Shit, I'm
my
really-"
whole computer. Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as what Aiden just said at the end there, where I don't feel like I have too many expectations. There's nothing that particularly entices me into the show. It's kind of a big question mark just because we don't know her character too well. But just from Wakanda Forever, I did like her, even if she was, I would say, mostly used in a comedic sense in that film. Like that was definitely the big purpose for her character, which is a fine like introduction considering she was a side character in that movie. So with her getting her own show, that's obviously a good opportunity for them to actually dive deeper into who she is and whatnot. But not actually knowing too much about the content of the show, yeah, I'm open to it, but I don't have a lot of expectations, good or bad. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Sir.
It does seem like, I will say, just because we talked about release dates and episode count and whatnot, it seems like that might be a bit of a shorter show just because that's June 24th and Eyes of Wakanda comes out August 6th, which only allows like, what, 5-6 weeks or something in between those.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be just 6 episodes, would be my guess.
Ugh. I thought that actually annoys me. I thought we were fixing that, but whatever.
Maybe they do, because they've done multiple episodes at the start of a show. They've done it, or they're about to do it now at the end. Maybe they're doing some weird mix where you get 3 episodes week 1 and you get 2 finale episodes together. Who knows?
I guess I shouldn't talk too much trash on it because we know that they can do it right. Like Loki season 2, 6 episodes, phenomenal. It was I think perfectly paced. I think everything that needed to get told got told. So
I would argue that the shows with 6 episodes in general are better than the ones with 9. If you look historically, Loki, Moon Knight, at least in my opinion, and as much as we talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier, I still like that show significantly more than She-Hulk.
But you don't like Miss Marvel, though.
I'm not saying that that's the case for every show, but in general, I think the shorter, the less episode numbered shows have been better than the ones with 9 episodes.
So you're saying Agatha is garbage? because Agatha has 9 episodes and it comes out and
Yeah.
it ends tonight, buddy. So a little premature of you, don't you think?
And not really. Anyways,
What a hater, bro. What a hater, chat.
Eyes of Wakanda comes out on August 6th. I'll give my thoughts because I don't have a ton. What I mentioned earlier, really like what I'm seeing with the animation style. Feels, like it had its own dedicated team working on it, who had a specific vision for it. I don't really remember, once we were getting all these series announced, I don't really remember the details of what exactly this entails. I think it had something to do with essentially like the origin of Wakanda. Obviously, that's like really a generic thing to say, but so I think I'm excited just from the perspective of, since it seems like its own unique style and its own unique thing, it feels like there is a dedicated, passionate team that's working behind this. And usually when that's the case, that passion will shine through and really help the quality of whatever project that they worked on. So I'm interested. I don't know too much about it, but I also am just like looking forward to it with a very, very open mind.
I am very excited, especially with the synopsis that they dropped. A 4-part animated anthology series that follows warriors through Wakandan history who were tasked to travel the world retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. I think that's going to be so cool. Like, there's just so much you could do with that. As we saw Killmonger in the first Black Panther in that museum, retrieving that mask, I believe it was. I just think of cool things you can do with that, such as like a very old-timey mission that a Wakandan warrior has to go on, where they travel to like the 1800s, or where it's set in like the 1800s, and they have to go retrieve a vibranium artifact from some random place throughout the world. And we can just kind of play with different sceneries like that. And I think to like that the Predator movie that they're gonna come out with like exploring pirate and samurai times, you could even do something like that with this too. Having to retrieve a vibranium artifact from like a samurai clan or something. I don't know. Just think there's a lot of cool things you can do with this. It's 4-part, nice, quick. You're in, you're out. I don't think this is one that it's not an extreme like the Groot shorts, but it's also not the other side of the extreme like a WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier, where it's like super important versus not really important at all. I think it'll be something that's just cool. Kind of, it's in that middle spot between Ironheart and Zombies. I feel like it'll just be there to kind of bridge a gap. Have a nice, fun little, gorgeous, beautifully animated show to feast our eyes on. So yeah, I'm very excited for it. I think there's a lot of cool things you can explore with that.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm very excited for this show. Just based off the synopsis alone. Jumping through different time periods, I believe, right, is what it said. Just to find these artifacts, just to dive deeper into Wakanda, because that's something I've always been a little bit interested in since the introduction of Wakanda in the MCU specifically. And I don't know if this has ties to the MCU, their grander Wakanda. I don't think they've stated that yet. But just even the beginning of Black Panther 1, watching why am I forgetting Black Panther's name? T'Chaka. No, T'Chaka is who we saw, but T'Challa, my goodness. T'Challa's father, and how all of that led to Killmonger being a thing. Watching that and getting to see a younger version of T'Chaka. So I don't think we're gonna. I mean, I'm sure we might actually see T'Chaka here, but it's a similar thing to I know you guys won't care because you're not as much into games as I am, but there's a new Black Panther and Captain America video game coming out, and I think that is the Black Panther in that game is T'Challa's grandfather, not his father, but his grandfather, and I don't remember the I don't think it's not T'Chaka, but it's some I don't remember their name, but it's that sort of thing, and it's set in World War II, and it seems really interesting to me to dive into that time period of Wakanda and to see what they were up to, and so to see that in this sort of anthology and just jumping around, I think is going to be super interesting for me personally. But yeah, I'm sure it's just one of those like tide us over type shows as well. So
Yeah, I mean, looking at the release date, just how quick we go from Ironheart into that, and even that into Marvel Zombies, there isn't that much time in between stuff, which when you're trying to release literally 7 different series, well, I guess 6 different series within the course of one singular year, then you do kind of have to pack everything in. But
yeah,
on October 25th, 2025, we get Marvel Zombies, which is confirmed to be a TVMA series that is an extension of the What If Season 1 episode. I'm pretty sure originally it was supposed to be like the first TVMA project that they were going to release on Disney Plus, but I'm pretty sure that Daredevil Born Again will end up taking that title since it comes out in March, and I'm pretty sure that's TVMA. But yeah, we're getting Marvel Zombies, which the only weird thing about it is, because that was announced a couple years ago, and since they knew that they were making the series, it does feel weird that we got that one episode that almost now feels wasted in What If Season 1. But I don't know if that's like a setup and transition into where this story will go. Who knows? But with it being it's weird to say one of my favorite episodes of What If Season 1 because I don't think it was amazing, but truthfully, one of my favorite episodes, even if it's still not great. I like the idea of it. I don't necessarily understand the significance of this being like the first TVMA or was going to be the first TVMA thing, because I remember when that was like, very explicitly said when the show was announced. With it being an animated show, I don't know how much that like will really play into it with, how violent or dark they're going to go with it. But who knows? I'm open to be proven wrong there. But yeah, I think I'm looking forward to it. I just hope that they're able to actually find substance and story and not just entertainment, because I feel like this concept lends itself to just trying to entertain the viewer with different cool scenarios, and obviously being able to pull in different characters because it follows the same principles as What If. They can really just do whatever they want. I hope that they in a way, I hope they don't take the What If approach, which is like, we're just going to do a bunch of random crazy cool things because we're allowed to do that, and you're left kind of wanting more. Hopefully they actually like refined a story. So that's what I'm looking for in it. But in general, like, I'm very open, which is the case with most of these.
yeah, for me personally, shut up. For me personally, I find that
I gotta do it to you.
For me personally, I love the aspect, and since it's a continuation of the What If episode one, I want to say I agree with you. Like, it seems very wasted because like it is insane how long ago they announced this, and insane that it with the same What If animation style. It seems like anyway they're able to get What If seasons out year after year, but this was announced 2+ years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and this has just been on the back burner or whatever. But I love that it's a continuation of that because it left off with like zombie Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet staring him down in Wakanda, and I also love that it's a different group than like the core group of Avengers because all the core group of Avengers are already zombies. Like even Wanda's a zombie and whatnot. So we're following this like side characters, like I guess not exactly all side characters. Cause I think Ant-Man's not a zombie yet. But like we have Spider-Man, which obviously also is not a side character, but just bear with me. Spider-Man, we have things like Bucky, I believe, is there. Somebody who has I think there was a floating head, if I remember correctly. Somebody's head was cut
Ant-Man?
off. Oh, was Ant-Man's head? Yeah, and somehow he's still alive or something. I don't know. Whatever. Still cool. I think it's cool that we're branching off from different. I would say traditionally followed characters. We're gonna get more Shang-Chi. For some reason, I think also Shang-Chi's friend that Aquafina played is also going to have a role in the show, if I remember correctly, from the concept art that they released. I also think that they're going to do cool things with each character. The 10 rings, I believe, are stopping Shang-Chi's infection. He did get bit, but they're stopping him from being infected and from dying and becoming a zombie. So I think there's a lot of cool things that are going to be in this show, and I'm very excited for the TVMA aspect of it. I wonder how that'll play with this animation style as well, though. Like, it's interesting to make it TVMA, but I also feel like with this animation style, it's just going to be very largely cartoony, even more so than like a traditional, like, I don't know. When I watch Family Guy, like it's the same. Like I could see a blood soaked person, and it's very, I don't know, fakey. So it's that kind of thing. Versus when I watch, I don't know,
Invincible.
Invincible. Yeah, it seems a lot more heavy that way.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's like, thank you for the Invincible help there, but
It was the first thing that came to mind for like
yeah.
violent animation.
I was gonna say something like Rick and Morty, but that's a better example, I think, in Invincible. So I'm worried to see how that's gonna play forward, but I mean, I hope it plays well, truthfully, and so I'm excited. Sucks it's a year away though, another year. Golly.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly what you said. I mean, I'm very excited for all those aspects. I could see this one maybe being like a 6 episode. Again, like what Charlie said, post one every day. Because if you do 6 episodes posted every day, that's October 25th to October 31st, which is, I'm assuming, what they're going for. Yeah. And so, yeah, just to kind of keep predicting how these shape out. But again, I mean, I'm excited to check it out. It'll be a fun one to kind of sit and talk about how crazy it is, get you in the mood, the holiday spirit, or the Halloween spirit, I should say. And yeah, I mean, again, just not a lot of thoughts on it. Very excited. That's all I can really say. Yeah. This one, though.
And yeah, the final show is Wonder Man, which releases December 25th, which is interesting because obviously, one, that's a holiday, but also it's the first time, unless I'm like totally misremembering, that we'll have a show overlap between 2 years. By the time that we get the full thing, we'll get, the first episode, and then we'll continue into 2026, which is just kind of interesting. But Aiden, as you were saying, on your thoughts?
Yeah, this is one I've talked about quite a bit because I literally just wanted some confirmation. Like, am I tripping or does this show exist? Like, somebody give me something because I swear they said it was done during the strike and that they said once the strike was over, they were just going to finish it up. And it has been bothering me so bad. Every time we talked about like the upcoming slate, I'm always like, Wonder Man. When D23 happened earlier this year, I was like, Wonder Man. When Comic-Con happened, where is Wonder Man? And here it is, just out of nowhere. It was the first thing they announced. I'm excited. I'm freaking excited. I've been waiting for this one. I think the little clips we saw was not at all what I was expecting it to be, but then again, I don't really know what I was expecting. Definitely not someone auditioning to play the role of Wonder Man in a TV show. Ben Kingsley, I believe his name is in this, which I feel like I heard.
He's getting miles out of the MCU,
Dude,
bro. Like, that is crazy.
I mean, even just to pop up as a comedic role in Shang-Chi and just literally, like, there was no reason for him. Let's be honest, there's no reason for him to be in that movie. But yeah, seriously, I don't know why he's in this, but I mean, I think it. Well, you know, maybe since he was an actor playing someone as well, in the MCU, I guess I could see that. I don't know. I mean, the fits that I think is it Yahya Abdul-Mateen, the fits that this man had on in that trailer, stunning.
He's looking fresh.
He's looking fresh, bro. It just looks cool. I don't know. And again, I don't have a lot to go off of, but this has been one of the shows that I've been waiting on for a long time. And so I'm glad that we even have it. I'm glad that it's able to stand up against everything that we've had on the chopping block. Talking about like Blade and Armor Wars. And so I'm happy that this one's able to come out. And so I'm very much looking forward to this. Ben, you're right. I don't know how I didn't put together that December 25th is literally Christmas. That's definitely a choice, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I love Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
You know what? I'm sorry. Does this just mean October 2025, December 2025? I think that's all it means. It's just the year.
They do. Yeah. Gosh, I feel dumb now. Jeez.
So much for that. I was all like, "Oh, Marvel Zombies, you drop 6 episodes, one a day." You get to...
Well, to be fair, Wonder Man is still gonna release into the new year.
Yeah.
I was partially right.
Didn't Hawkeye do that? Or am I tripping?
Hawkeye.
I thought that was like a November release.
Its finale was early December. Because its finale was
early. No, it happened after No Way Home.
It was right after No Way Home.
Right after. So it's
finale release
December
22nd.
No. You guys are wrong. But that's fine.
What? Wait, whoa. About what? I missed.
Or sorry, Aiden's wrong.
What did he say?
Sorry, because he said the finale was early December, and I was like, no, it was after No Way Home, and he's like, okay, mid December.
Oh, I thought he was saying mid about the show, and there was some sort of disagreement.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
But Lalo Salamanca's in it, so it's like,
he's got a point there.
Yes, sir.
He's coming back in something, right? He's coming back in something.
Holy crap, what is it? It's one of these upcoming shows. Oh, was it?
I remember Discussing Film posted something about him coming back in the MCU.
Crap, what project was it?
I don't know. You think about it. I'll talk.
I'll look.
But I'm excited for this. I love Yahya Abdul-Mateen. He was fantastic in Candyman. He's fantastic in what's that? Dude, no, whatever. I won't look it up. I won't worry. He's a fantastic actor. I love him in everything that he's in. I also think that I don't know anything about Wonder Woman. And in fairness, though, before I say this, I didn't expect them to go in this direction either, with the whole acting gig thing. Maybe he is an actor, and like I know that him and Wanda have like a love connection thing in the comics. Obviously, Wanda's dead, but who knows? That might change tonight. Let's find out.
Seriously, I'm excited for the finale. Me
too.
Give it up.
Me too.
Give it up, bro.
Who knows? Wanda might not be dead tonight.
Some big stuff could happen. We could see Tommy. I mean, come on. Tonight might cook.
Hey. I know him and Wanda have like a love thing, but it might be one-sided. I think he has a crush on Wanda, and Wanda like. Obviously, she loves Vision, and she makes fake kids, imagining them to be Vision's parents, or Vision being the parent, etc. But that's as much as I know about the character. I don't. I can't even tell you his power set, truthfully, if he has them. So I'm excited to see where this goes. This is a complete wild card for me. I hope that he gets to further be included in the MCU afterwards because, again, I love Yaya. I think he's great. And yeah, I don't think Ben Kingsley again. Cool to see him, I guess, but I hope that. Not even I hope. He's definitely going to serve a better purpose in this than he did in Shang-Chi, for sure. So, at least from the acting perspective, I'm sure that's going to play a part into his character and as well as Simon Williams' character. So, he'll probably help Simon Williams at some point with something in the acting career. But it's cool. I'm excited.
I know very, very little about the character or really the story, just anything. But yeah, main actor, big fan. Candyman is the first movie that came to mind when you mentioned him. He was also in movies like Ambulance.
Aquaman. That's what I was, dude. I couldn't think of Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? Sorry to interrupt you, Benji. I'm not sorry.
It's fine. Jeez. So big fan of his. But just big question mark on this series for me. I feel like I know basically the least about it, even just concept wise, character wise, compared to literally everything else that we've talked about. On a more, I guess, like grand note though, with all of these shows, I do have to say that I'm a little concerned with the quantity of shows that we're getting, because I feel like when Marvel started doing shows, you know, they gave us just like a ton in the first couple of years, and then, you know, the discourse reflected that fans were not really happy with a lot of the products that we were getting, and people would partially attribute that to just how much we're getting. And so that kind of calmed down. I mean, even this year we literally got four TV shows and one theatrical release, which is like the least amount of movies that Marvel did if you exclude 2020 because, you know, the pandemic. The least amount of movies that Marvel has done since like 2015, when they only released, was it 2015? Or no, that had 2 movies. I'm just tripping. Anyways, so it seemed like they were dialing back, delaying projects and whatnot, and even some of these series were delayed, and we didn't know when we were going to get them. So part of me is a little worried just with the sheer quantity of stuff that we're getting, because that historically has led to just like a very mixed bag. So that worries me just a tad, because I mean, even if you just like fill in the gaps, you go from Spider-Man show to Captain America movie to Daredevil to Thunderbolts to Ironheart to Fantastic Four, and then just more and more shows. So it's just next year it feels insane that we're getting 9 projects next year. We're getting 6 shows and 3 movies. That is crazy to me. So
well, and the thing is, not a lot of these look like they'll even connect into the story that we're trying to tell. And so like it's one thing for us to be like, oh man, we only have 2 projects between now and Doomsday, but it's like, no, we have like 9 projects, but what, 3, maybe 4, big maybe 5 will feed into the overall story we're trying to tell. And so it's like how's that going to reflect back on like the casual audience who's having a problem with quantity over quality?
yeah. And that if we're fine to move into like our next piece of news,
well,
which is
I was gonna say,
yeah, go ahead.
Tony Dalton will reportedly return as Swordsman in Daredevil Born Again, which
Yeah.
I thought it was that one, but I was like, no, there's no way. That's just too good to be true. And that's what the rumor is. So,
Oh,
heck,
yeah.
freaking yeah, dude.
I mean, seems
What are
like
you
we're
nodding for,
eating
boy?
good.
Go away, go watch Better Call Saul and come back, all right? Golly.
So yeah, kind of leading with what I mentioned about just like a packed year and not really feeling like we're building up towards Secret Wars. Um, our other piece of news was confirmation that Spider-Man 4 is releasing in between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Currently, it is the only slated movie to release in between those films. So on May 1st, 2026, we have Avengers Doomsday, then July 24th, 2026, Spider-Man 4, and then at this point, no reported movies until Avengers Secret Wars on May 7th, 2027. Which is a bit surprising because, like, I don't know, that feels like a very large gap between releases, especially in between, these two Avengers movies. Also, the fact that they were, like, literally just working on the Spider-Man scripts, and this is the one that they decide to put in between these films. Um, I don't know. It feels weird that before Doomsday, we literally just have our three films next year that we've known about for a while. Which, like, Fantastic Four is probably going to lead into Doomsday just fine. But then are we really going to, get enough substance to move into Secret Wars just by getting Spider-Man 4 in between those? I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about this, but maybe one of you has something I'm missing, is what I'm hoping to hear.
Yeah, yeah. Let me go, buddy. This is my time to speak. No, I mean, I could see Captain America Thunderbolts kind of setting some of the groundwork, like maybe even a post-credit scene, or like, we could see some of these people. Carol Danvers has been a huge person in these post-credit scenes. If you want to talk about in terms of building up to what we're gonna do next, she was in the Shang-Chi post-credit scene, and then her post-credit scene with Beast, and having Monica be in another universe, I think it was. She has already been in two major post-credit scenes, and so maybe Cap gets a call from her in Captain America 4, or maybe something happens in Thunderbolts where the Thunderbolts get a call from someone to where it's like, hey, got some big things going down. And then obviously Doctor Doom could potentially show up in Fantastic Four at the end or in a post-credit scene, and then you find your way to get to Doomsday. Again, I don't know how, but if that's all we got, then I'm sure they've sat down and had multiple discussions on how they're going to do this and have it make sense too. My thing is, me and Charlie talked last episode. Ben, this is where I wish you would have listened, because we talked a lot about the Tom Holland Spider-Man stuff, and where he sat there and he said, I've had to start to put my foot down on a lot of directions where we're taking the character of Spider-Man, and we're taking this movie. And me and Charlie sat here and we were like, well, that's great and all, but it depends on what your vision, what are you okaying? What are you putting your foot down on in there for the character of Spider-Man and for these movies? Are you saying yes, please, to a grounded aspect? Because after No Way Home, it's like I just want to see Tom Holland play a nice grounded. You go back to the go back to the Homecoming days. Just take Iron Man out of it. Just have it be just him in a grounded Spider-Man movie, especially with where we left off. Getting this news though, after saying all of that, and I'm sorry, but there is no way in hell that this is not a multiversal movie. There is no way that this is a grounded Spider-Man movie. There is no way that this doesn't do something huge to spill into the next movie. I'm assuming we're getting 3 of them in 2026, Doomsday, Spider-Man, and then something late in the year. And then you start off 2027 the same way you start off 2026 with an Avengers movie. How? No matter what is next, no matter what movie you have in there, whether it's a Doctor Strange movie after Spider-Man, which maybe, but I still don't see Spider-Man being a grounded Spider-Man movie, and then you get a Doctor Strange crazy multiversal movie to spill into Secret Wars. You're just doing what you already did 2025. You just have to hope that your two movies that have nothing to do with Doctor Doom spill into the third movie, which has a little bit to do with it, and then you get to your big Avengers movie, and you just fast track everything. This also gets rid of my theory that Secret Wars was maybe the early slot of the 2028 slate that we saw. I guess that's out the window. That doesn't give them the extra 5 movies to do something with. This is just what we got. And this really makes me think that, unfortunately, this is a multiversal Spider-Man movie because, again, you can maybe put Doctor Strange in that late 2026 spot and try to do some hand-wavy stuff, but even with having your most multiversal, spacey, huge superhero, his movie, even putting that in after Spider-Man, I don't think that does any of the groundwork without having Spider-Man 4 be a multiverse movie, in my opinion. So as for what that means, I don't really know. I don't even know how these next 3 movies will tie into our next Avengers one, but I don't think there's any way that this Spider-Man movie isn't what we all feared it would be.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Aiden. The only point of contention that I would have is like Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't have anything to do with Infinity War, with the exception of the post-credit scene. And then same thing with Captain Marvel, except for I think the entire purpose of that movie was solely to introduce Captain Marvel, and because she was in Endgame. And so carrying over those principles to Spider-Man and his next film being in between Doomsday and Secret Wars, there's no way that they can have that movie and not have it talk about, reference, or do something with either Doomsday or what's to come after Doomsday. And so with that being the case, those 2 movies, the Avengers movies, are obviously not street level things. And so this Spider-Man, I don't think you can do that with maybe the only way I could see it being possible is if it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, whole movie doesn't revolve around it. Maybe this movie takes place before Doomsday. Let's say that the movie happened before everything that happened in Doomsday, but then the post-credit scene, they can say there's a title card right before the post-credit scene that says 2 years later or however long it is from between them and Doomsday, and then post-credit scene that references something that's about to happen in Secret Wars or something. That's the only way I can see that is still being street level, not having anything to do with it. But I also think it is crazy that the next appearance that we're going to see after where we just left Peter and Spider with his situation and everything is going to be in an Avengers movie. So we're not, granted, there's rumors that he is going to be one of the main characters of the next Avengers film, but I still that I don't think is going to be the things that happened at the end of No Way Home. I don't think those are going to take precedent over everything that they have to set up and do with Doomsday. So it's just crazy that it seems like such a monumental thing where we left Peter in his life after No Way Home, and then next time we're seeing him is in an Avengers film where we're most likely just going to gloss over most of that stuff. So crazy decisions being made. It sounds like, from an outside perspective, sure, but it's wow, insanity. And honestly, the more I mentioned the idea of, I think that's a good idea actually, having Tom's movie, the fourth Spider-Man movie, take place before Doomsday, make that a title card thing that says this is before anything happened. There's good and bad with it, because whatever happens to him in Doomsday, a little bit it's we know he's going to make it out of whatever happens in this in Spider-Man 4. Same thing with the Black Widow movie. So there's good and bad with it. Hopefully they could play, if that's the route they go, hopefully they could play around with something like that and make it work better than it did in Black Widow. But truthfully, I agree. I don't think that there's a way that you can make this movie street level any longer with its placement. in the grander universe,
Yeah,
which sucks.
that all that all does make sense, which is definitely kind of like the unfortunate reality, and it kind of it makes me think in a similar vein to how people have been talking about, the Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr.'s return and whatnot. You know, they built up and then they did No Way Home, and that was, the grand conclusion. They really wanted to finish off the trilogy in a fresh start, and no matter what people thought about No Way Home, I think the ending is pretty universally appreciated, and people were glad that like we were kind of moving forward with things. Some people say that his trilogy is basically one big origin story, and so they were excited to see what happened next. But similar to the Russo brothers and RDJ returning, um, it almost feels like the choice to put Spider-Man 4 in between these Avengers films, and also, if it has ties to the Avengers films, it feels like they are grasping at straws and they are rushing in order to clean up and just try and make the most as they are working towards Secret Wars. So, similar to their other choices with the directors and RDJ, it's like, you know what? We're gonna rely on another Spider-Man project, and we're gonna just completely shift gears. We had the ending of No Way Home. Doesn't matter anymore. We need to set this up so that we can try and build some better hype with Secret Wars. That's almost what it feels like. It feels like another kind of last ditch effort to course correct, and they're willing to alter, not necessarily alter the ending, but maybe there was a plan for Spider-Man's path forward, and now it's different. Like that it's kind of what it feels like, is they're just shoehorning this in order to try and fix some of their mess. But obviously, that's all speculation, but just based on like what you guys said, which I think is all very valid, and yeah, just the placement of everything and whatnot, it feels like that's what they're going for, which would be very, I don't know. I feel like that's one of those hard things to balance, because obviously we don't want them to ruin the end of No Way Home and we want them to go street level, but also we want Doomsday and Secret Wars to work. So, it's kind of like, are we okay sacrificing what No Way Home set up if that means that Secret Wars and Doomsday is better? I don't know. That'll be a question to revisit once we actually see all the movies. But yeah,
That's true. I never
bit
thought of it
bit
that way.
unfortunate.
Yeah, and I never thought of it that way, having to sacrifice that. That pretty much seems like what's happening and what we're going to get. And I could even see Marvel Studios just being like, hey, look, like, if we're going to have to sacrifice the Spider-Man movie, we make Sony happy, we do the multiversal stuff, we get a Spider-Man movie out, and we use it for our bridge to Secret Wars. I mean, that's just what we're going to have to do. And, like Ben said, I mean, if that's what you do to make these Avengers movies bigger and better, then we have no choice to be okay with it, And so you might as well buy in, or you're going to be living a very, very sad almost year in between those movies. And so, yeah.
And it's necessary to point out that, like, even if Spider-Man and the story is sacrificed to help Doomsday and Secret Wars, it's still because of a result of poor planning on Marvel.
Yeah.
So, it still falls at their feet, even if they're able to course correct. If they make sacrifices, that's still on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get into Agatha, baby.
I'll start. It was a fantastic episode. You guys can both shut up, because I have a feeling that that's where that's going to go. But No, seriously, it was a really good episode. I think that the focus on Lilia's character, Ilya, still don't remember how you say it, was
Lilia. Jeez, Mr. Fantastic episode, my ass. It's Lilia, all right, man. Put some respect on her name. She loved being a witch,
yeah.
man.
I will.
She
I
loved
will put
being a
some
witch.
respect. Yep, yep. And I think that I don't know. I'm not normally a fan of non-linear storytelling, but I think that it really worked this episode. It was a very entertaining way to convey the episode and what was happening in the episode. I also think it was slightly heartbreaking to learn about her character and how she's sort of lived her entire life like out of order for a while, at least until she like turned off her powers or whatever she said that she did, or got rid of them or lessened them. And the way that that all ties into the challenge or the trial, I should say, and how the trial was overcome, and then her staying back to take care of the Salem Seven, which I think like the Salem Seven in and of themselves are like it's weird to me why, because their whole setup for them seemed to be like they don't like Agatha because Agatha killed their parents back in the witch trial time period. Yet they want to kill all of the witches that are there with Agatha, which seems weird to me. Like they stayed behind because Lilia stayed behind instead of just like trying to chase after Agatha some more. But you know, whatever. That's just regular Marvel kind of Disney Plus show mishaps, so that don't often make sense. But yeah, I mean, the pacing I thought was really good, but that goes hand in hand with the type of storytelling I think with that this episode had. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else I can say about it. I loved the little bit of the beginning with, I guess we can call him Teen still, but I'm gonna call him I'll call him Billy. With Billy and Agatha at the beginning, I did like watching them try to talk about things a little bit, and I thought that that was a good back and forth. And we've talked about how like they have a good back and forth throughout the whole show, but how it could get stale. But now with the dynamic shifted a little bit because of Teen revealing that he's actually Billy, I think it changed things up a little bit, and I do enjoy it even more so, maybe. But yeah, it was a good episode, man. Good episode.
Yeah. Ben will I mean, I feel like it's just known we'll save you for the end since you'll have to cover 2 episodes, but I loved it. Great episode. Really, really, really good episode. I think they've done a phenomenal job with the backstory stuff in this show. Um, Even if we have our complaints, even if it's like, all right, well, um, the whole teen reveal, like we've talked about that overall the episodes in this point still stands. It takes away a lot of potential of story there. But then whenever you have something like this where it's Lilia and you go back and then you show her flashback and her storytelling in a non-linear way, but you can also go back to the episodes where she did have those outbursts, and it does it, it does do some heavy lifting there, and it does bring those episodes up quite a bit, having this flashback and explaining how her power works, how her life works, and whatnot. So I think there's two sides of the coin there when it comes to the flashbacks and um, the backstory of these characters. This one I thought it was very well done. I had a really good time with it. I thought her decision, I guess if we're keeping it spoiler free, her decision was really nice, really heartfelt, really touching. Um, and like I said, just I loved being witch. I mean, it's great, man. The whole falling aspect, everything they did with her character and with those flashbacks and how they executed it, no pun intended, just worked very well for me. Um, uh, And yeah, I had a blast with this episode. I think it's an awesome setup to your penultimate and your finale. I think they've played their cards right in terms of like later half structure of the show. The first half maybe not as well, but I'm happy to see that maybe the worst was behind us. Whenever I said that I wanted it to be behind us, and so that makes me excited for episode 8 and 9 tonight. And I think that this was one of the better setup to the penultimate and finale episodes that we've gotten in an MCU show. And I'm just glad that they were able to seemingly turn it around. I speak cautiously because we still have the finale tonight, but in terms of this episode, in terms of the last couple episodes, I am very much pleased. I'm very much pleased.
I guess I will briefly touch on last week's episode just because I wasn't here. I really appreciated the backstory element. I feel like that's a lot of what this show had been missing. There was part of me that kind of didn't feel too enticed by it, the fact that we were learning all of this after the reveal, because I feel like we said before, if you go back and watch the show from the very beginning, there's still so many there's not a lot to grasp onto with his character. Even knowing what we know, it doesn't retroactively make everything all of a sudden really amazing. Outside of like, seeing the cool kind of dual dynamic between his perspective and Agatha's from episode 1 when he was first introduced. Like that was cool to see, but when it comes to his actual story, it's not like I don't feel like that made the first few episodes of his character suddenly really compelling, which was, I kind of had said that from the very beginning. I will say that even by the end of the episode, when we understand his motivation now, part of me doesn't really get his, just like the nature of his character, which is that he lied about who he is and his motivation for going on the road, and also why he then, turned violent, because I feel like he could have achieved his goal while, being reasonable and working with the team and whatnot, which is, I think, is the dynamic that they're now going for. But like, I just don't really buy into him being evil, and that if his motive for the road is truly to find Tommy, then like I just feel like there's a better way to go about it. So I just wasn't really convinced by that, and I don't feel like the backstory really helped me to understand his perspective in that way. So I liked the episode. What was Ralph Boner's, was it Bonerific 69 or something like that, his
Yeah.
Reddit tag or whatever? That didn't do anything for me personally. Like, it's a cameo and it served its purpose to give Billy information, but didn't really, it's not like that drew me in and enticed me in any really interesting way. But yeah, I would say I liked the episode more than a lot of the previous ones, just because it was more character focused. But still, even then, when we get back to present day, it's not like it pushes the story forward in a way that felt too significant for me. And then this newest episode, I would say, might be my favorite in the series. And not to say that I like absolutely loved it, but having the focus on a singular character, and then also just like, this is an instance where, reflecting back on what we've seen so far, I actually feel like this backstory elevated previous episodes by giving us more context into her character and her actions and whatnot. This actually did what I think the previous episode failed to do with Billy's character. So in that regard, I appreciated everything that we were informed on, and then also kind of the flashbacks to put all of it into context. So this is what I was looking for, but also actually done like incredibly well in my opinion. So I have to say I was a fan of this episode, but I think I was a fan of it as like kind of a singular episode. On its own, I think it's really good, but it doesn't kind of move the needle as we look forward into how this show is going to finish out. I'm not thinking like, oh, the show is saved, we're back on the right track. This was a good episode for this one character and putting some of the story into context. But moving forward, I still kind of feel the same that I have, which is honestly like, I mean, I'm interested to see how this is going to end, but I'm not too enticed, and I don't feel like I necessarily care that much, even if I cared about what was happening in this specific episode.
Terrible take, but that's fine.
I think that makes sense. They really haven't pushed a ton of the plot in the past. Ignore that. They haven't pushed like a ton of the plot in the past 2 episodes. They've done a lot of character work. I feel like they've been able to get away with it because the character work is good and it does pertain to these important pieces in our story. So I don't necessarily disagree with that at all. That was weird. Let me rephrase that. I don't disagree with that take, because they just haven't pushed a lot of the story along. I think what it does to set up the end, and the ending of the show, I think is good, and I can appreciate that. Especially, we might see Billy maybe take a big role in these last 2 episodes, especially with like his goal and what his goal brings to the future of the MCU and the stakes with that. Of course, I'm talking about Tommy and Wanda. If he can bridge us to that, and so I think it sets up those last couple of episodes really well. I do feel like a lot of this show was a lot of padding and just stretching it out as far as you could. So yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying with that, Ben.
Yeah, I'll just add before Charlie tries to respond. Uh, but I think one of the things I would say is that these last 2 episodes being so character focused put more into context, I think, like just how wasted the first half of this show felt. Because this is what, like, I see the potential of what they could have cooked up if they had done a more, character focused story and whatnot. So it makes me almost reflect back and be like, dang, we should have been getting stuff more like this more often. And instead, it feels like we wasted time, and now we're basically at the end. So it doesn't feel like it, matters as much.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have anything to respond to, man. That was just a little joke, a little jab. I mean, I respect you. I respect that take. Yeah, sure, certainly. I think.
I thought you were being serious about it being bad.
No. Because the show it's has definitely struggled to find its footing. It's something we've talked about for weeks over here. So, at least in our opinion, it's been really. I will say, like, I don't know if eerie is the right word, but it's been like a shock to talk about what we talk about on this episode, and then go to like Twitter and TikTok and see how many people just like the reception around the show is that the entire thing has been fire from a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is insane. I mean, I'm happy that they like it. I don't want to take that away from them or anything, but it's just like, I wonder what they love about it so much that we aren't seeing. Because I don't know, in terms of character work, this is the first like really, really good episode, aside from last week. Last week would have said the same thing, or I think I might have said the same thing. But now I think Lilia's kind of took precedent over that. I think that they handled hers better than Billy's, and so I, and for me being big on character, like that's what I care about. So maybe these people find other things to care about more, but. Stop yapping. It's penguin time, baby.
It's freaking Penguin time, baby.
True.
One of the best comic
True.
book shows out right now, out period. Making a freaking name for itself. Let's freaking talk about this.
Can I want to go first, actually.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to go first. I gotta be honest. I have really enjoyed this show thoroughly. And that is still the case. However, I feel like the show has gotten to a point where I'm not saying that everything feels unnecessary and feels like filler, but the significance of each episode feels like it's getting less and less significant as we go on. So
Are you talking about this week's episode or last week's?
this week's.
Okay.
I mean, it ties in together, I guess, but specifically with this week's, by the end of it, I mean, I had a great time the whole time. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I still love all of the characters and the dynamics and whatnot. And I feel like I could just keep watching, this world that they've built, and I'll be entertained no matter what. But when it comes to kind of pushing things forward and where we're going with the story, the amount of things that stick out to me feel just like a lot less in comparison to previous weeks. And like the very end of the episode, like obviously suspenseful. I'm really excited to see what happens next. And we're leading into the final 2 episodes, which the people who have watched them say that, the show ends very, very well. So I'm very much looking forward to it, but it feels wrong to call it filler because it's not filler, and it still is enjoyable, and you like all the characters and the dynamics. But just when it comes to like our dynamics and our characters actually progressing and our story progressing, it feels like a lot less of that and a lot more of just things naturally happening. So I don't know. I don't really know fully where I land with that. That's just kind of an initial, that's what I felt right after watching them. I don't know if I was also affected by watching the last 2 episodes back to back. So, too much of a good thing. So I wanted to share that because I guess I expect that you guys might have a different take, but yeah, kind of all I have.
I honestly kind of agree because this episode was the episode that I had the least amount of notes taken on it. I don't really. It's odd because I've definitely felt a shift as well, to where it's like I still love this show. I mean, it's still phenomenal. I still think it's on its way to making a case for one of the best comic book movie shows that we've gotten in a while. It's finding a way to squeeze itself up there with The Boys, Daredevil, things of that nature. But I would be lying if I said this episode, and I talked about it last week too, where I said, it just kind of feels like I think it was episode 3 where it was kind of the bridge from like our groundwork into our flashback and then our end of season arc. Episode 3 and episode 5 kind of felt the same to me, where it's like, all right, we're lifting it from the flashback of Sophia and how she's gonna play a part, and okay, now it's over here, keep going along, like keep pushing along into the end of the season. But then this episode kind of did the same thing. And I remember a lot of people, those first two episodes, everyone, not everyone, but I did see a lot of takes where people were like, this show's so boring. This is just so bad. This is so boring. Like, it's a snooze fest. Um, and that really pissed me off because I was like, I don't, I don't think
Top
it's
brain people.
boring. Yeah, like I don't think it's boring. I think it's just taking its time. It's a slow burn, and I think we're just back to that. We're back to the episode 1 and 2, um, except this time it's just 5 and 6, and then I think it's 8 episodes we agreed on, right? I think 7 and 8 will. I feel like will blow us out of the water. I feel like we'll be amazing. I feel like we'll be like great, but we don't get it without this setup that we're having to do right now. It's just that this show takes its time with everything, and it does things very carefully, which is what happened in the first 2 episodes, which is when everyone was calling it boring and trash. And then 3 and 4 come, blow everyone away, and then 5 and 6 are looked at as, oh, this is great, but it's like you would still be calling it boring if episodes 3 and 4 didn't blow you away and didn't exceed your expectations. Now you're just looking at it in a different light. And I feel like I've been looking at it in that light since it started. It's a slow burn. A lot of people just sitting around talking, and setting the groundwork and or laying down the groundwork for our eventual big moments, like in episode 4 and episode 3, and what I'm assuming will be episode 7 and 8. So I agree. I have felt a shift. I think it's just been on kind of a roller coaster throughout the whole season. Starting off slow, hitting it hard, kind of pulling it back a little bit more, and then I'm assuming hitting it hard again. Again, I don't think it's bad. I don't really have an issue with it, but I can address that, like, yeah, I've felt it too.
Yeah, just with you saying that, a better way to put it is like the show did start slow, but I mean I loved it. I know we talked about it. We
Yeah.
all were a fan. We were fans. And then it did kind of ramp up, and now it's kind of ramping down with its momentum. So it's kind of a momentum shift, and it will probably ramp back up again. So I think the reason why it was noticeable is because we started slower and we already kind of built up, and now to kind of have like a bit of a lull before we eventually get to the end of the story, it just the change of pace and the momentum shift feels more significant than when you're like, starting off the beginning of the show. So
Yeah.
I really think that's all it was for me. Um, is just feeling that momentum shift. And like I said, it's not that I didn't like it. Everything that I said is true of the beginning of the show too, which is just, I love watching these characters and these dynamics and these situations and whatnot. That hasn't changed. So that's why I didn't really know how to put it. Filler didn't
Yeah.
feel like the proper word. It's just
Yeah.
a momentum shift.
I completely agree because like I said, I felt it too, and I wanted to find a way to tackle it, and that's why last week I was kind of like, yeah, like this is still great. I still love this show. I just feel like we're kind of bridging, and we're bridging how amazing last episode was, and we're bridging it into our final 3 episodes. And then it happened again this week, and I was like, okay, I still love it. It's still great. Have no issues with it. I have just felt a shift, and I mean, to put it into perspective, 2 episodes ago, Sophia killed her whole family and has set out her mission to go take down Oz. And now still nothing's happened. And so it's just like, I guess you kind of expect that to be like your top point where it's like, all right, now Sophia's getting with Sal. And it's like, okay, now they're just now like starting to find him, like, and it works. It works for me. Just when you put it into perspective like that, it's like, man, yeah, that has been kind of a while to get to where we're at. And so, again, I'm a huge fan of this show. I love it. I look forward to it every week, every Sunday. But yeah, I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying.
When are you guys saying the momentum shift happened after the Sophia episode?
Well, see, for you it might be different. For you it might be different because like in your eyes, if I'm like as someone who didn't like that episode and thought like, okay, like this is just like somewhat filler, you know, there's just no plot, no real time stuff happening. Then it could be like that could be like a ramping up part. Like you're still on the up, and then these past 2 episodes you're like still building to, whereas us it's like, oh shit, this episode was amazing. We're like on our peak. Like this is crazy. We're on our way to like the rest of the show being phenomenal. Big moments, just like hard hitting, whatever. And then these last 2 episodes kind of like stay there. And they kind of stay with that episode 4, if not a little bit lower. To whereas for you, you're still on the up. So that could be a change for you because I feel like the momentum for me changed. Maybe this episode, I could look at last episode and be like, okay, we're set. This is the bridge episode to get to these huge moments in our final 3 episodes. But that didn't happen again this week. At the end, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
hold on. But I just want to get like, are you guys saying the momentum slowed down after the Sophia one? Is that where you guys are agreeing on? Is that what you agree on?
I would say a gradual slowdown from the end of four, and then 5, and then 6 got.
I
more.
I fully agree with that. Yeah.
In my mind, you guys are bonkers, bro.
I would say
for episode 5,
I
would agree.
I would say 5 was not a huge shift. I'm not saying
that.
I'm like little shift in 5. 6 is a greater shift.
Wouldn't even say a little because I would agree if it was this episode, but episode 5, we saw Oz literally burn down the Maronis, and Sophia build up her new army. What is slow about that? What is slow about her finally killing off the last member of her family and then building up the rest of her, not the rest, but the entirety of her empire, all in one swing, in just one little pop, VD, bye, bitch, and I'm the king now kind of thing. And then Oz literally tried to take down one of the biggest crime families in Gotham, right? Like that's insane. And he largely did it except for Salvatore. And now, sure, that's why I would have agreed if you guys said that like the dip was this episode and like this episode is kind of just coasting. Because like for the most part, I agree.
I think so. Like then that's why I said last week I sat here and I told you I was like, this shit was still awesome. Like Sal and Sophia are teaming up. Like this episode, it was like, okay, like this is where I expected us to go crazy from here. Episode 7, episode 8, and like that's your season. But like this one's still kind of like, if I'm on a peak with episode 4, I think episode 5 is like right there at the same, and then episode 6 for me comes down a little bit. Like I think the momentum has shifted with this episode.
Because that's why I was asking. Because that's why I was trying to get like a barometer of like where you guys were. Because so if you're saying that it was after last week's episode, then that's fine. I'm fine with that. But if you're saying last week's episode is where the dip began, I can entirely disagree. So I could not disagree more.
What I need to clarify, which I said to you guys before the episode, but just for the viewers and then also for the context of this conversation, I watched the 2 episodes back to back. And so, like I told you guys, I don't specifically remember where, one episode ended and the other began. It's been a couple days, and I watched it just like, an hour and a half to 2 hours of just straight watching Penguin. And so, for me, like, I would agree, everything that you talked about in episode 5, none of that is dipping down. Not at all. Like, I would not be arguing that. So I think in the context of knowing that I watched them together, it probably is mostly in episode 6, which I think we're all in agreement in.
I can agree, but I do want to add that I think that that's intentional, because I think that the last episode was the tearing down of everything old, in a literal sense. No, sorry, not in a literal sense, but in the most metaphorical and literal sense mixed together. Tearing down everything old, the old crime families, all of it was torn down in Gotham, and this is the beginning of building the new, both a crime family that has been brought together to make one new crime family, both with the combined goal of, initially at least, taking down Oz. While Oz is on the side is trying to build up his whole empire, get his product out there, everything like that. I 100% think that that's intentional, right? And I think that that's why they take the moments, they take the time to, as what some people would call boring, as Aiden mentioned, to focus on, like, think about how jarring it is. That last episode, we just saw Oz literally burn a mother and her child together. They burnt them to a crisp. And then now we're watching him with his mother so tenderly lift her up out of a bathtub and being as kind and solace as he could possibly hope to be. Like, that is crazy. Like, I mean, not to say that it's giving, and sorry, I guess spoilers for, not that that's really a spoiler, it's just him talking to his mother for this episode. If you haven't seen last week's, then I guess that's on you. But just to look at not to say that that's supposed to make us like Oz and enjoy him, but just to look at this character that we have seen do some horrific things and crack jokes about it right afterwards. Call your wife, tell me if she answers. To see that turn into how tender he can be with his mom, which I know we've seen throughout the season so far, but just how delicate he's being, lifting her out of the tub, dropping her down onto the floor, and someone who we've seen so perfectly okay with killing, and then to be asked to be killed in a mercy sense, to ask for him to kill someone, and it's because it's somebody he cares about. He struggles to even say yes, like not doing it immediately, but just at some point in the future, he struggles to even say yes. Like, that is, I think that's brilliant. And then also to take the time with Victor, I couldn't think of his name. Victor's whole plot this episode, absolutely fantastic. And then to blend it together with Oz at the end, with Victor struggling with it so much, and Oz immediately understands why he's struggling. And then it's such like a tender yet terrible scene at the same time, because we're watching Oz, that tender side of him again, try to help Victor, but then he says it'll get easier. Like, there's going to be more of this. And like, dude, to pull Victor out of where he was, just with a girl, his family down around the corner, he could see their building, literally calling, like a flood is happening. And he's trying to call his mom, bro. And now he just shot somebody, and there's a promise that he's going to have to shoot more people. Like, dude, dude, the slowdown of this episode, like, I guess I can understand some complaints, but then also, like, Oz is off building his empire, talking to all the other crime families in Gotham, trying to get them to come together. You know, I can understand your guys's your stance on how it's kind of just like coasty at this point, and it's rebuilding again. It seems like almost like, I guess I wouldn't be too firm on this, but the idea of like every 3 episodes, like there's a new like building up and tearing down of kind of like the momentum shift. Even though there's not 9 episodes, I know, but I would say that this is the beginning of the next shift that is sort of taking place. And I don't know, I think for me, I and maybe this ties into what Aiden was saying about me and how I didn't care for episode 4 as much as everybody else did, you guys did. And so I didn't quite reach that high point that you guys did. And so maybe that's why I'm not feeling, I can acknowledge the momentum shift for sure, but it works for me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. In both the sense of Oz as well as Sophia, I haven't even talked about, but everything with her and that conversation with I can't remember Oz, the girl or the hooker, I guess that Oz hangs out with. I don't remember her name, but their conversation together, and just for Sophia to, I don't know, I don't necessarily if I don't know if I would call it growth, but just to walk out of that room with someone who I guess technically betrayed her, but not in the actual sense, but it's just she knew about Albert's death and she discovered it. She acknowledged that and said that to Sophia. And yet Sophia, in learning that she has this strong family bond between her and her other girls, something that Sophia didn't have, as so poignantly pointed out by Aiden in the episode that we argued about it. And to watch that and to take that away and she realized she didn't want to break that up. Like someone who can have that, she wants them to have that because she didn't, is what I took from it anyway. And so she didn't kill that girl and let her walk away. And then that girl feeling betrayed by Oz because Oz didn't tell her that Sophia isn't really the hangman, and she gives up Oz and like, you deserve your shot. Great stuff. I think this was fantastic, man. Like, truthfully, the momentum shift worked well for me, and I am more excited than ever to get into what's to come.
Yeah, and I do have to say that the enjoyment as well as like the excitement for what comes next is that like definitely still there for me. That wasn't lacking in any sense, but it was more so like when you dive into episode 5 and you can point to all of those just crazy moments. Episode 6 still has a lot of great moments that you can point to, but a lot of them are more of those like subtle, tender moments with Oz and Victor and Oz's mother and stuff like that. They feel more small scale and less consequential, but they're still good. They just feel a little less significant when you compare to just like how much we were getting previously. But I do think, like you said, that they are definitely going to be building up into what happens next. So I'm fully there and I'm excited.
Yeah, I just think they keep building on Vic and Oz's relationship so beautifully. Even just like how eerie the title card was when he tells them they're going to tell stories about us. Victor Aguilar and Oswald Cobb, our names are going to live forever. And then the title card just hits. Music comes in. It's like, it's scary, man. It's fucking scary. Holding my breath every episode. Just waiting to see what this show just keeps bringing week after week. I mean, it's fucking astounding how they've been able to just keep it up this entire time. We talk about like the Agatha dips, the 2 weeks where it's like, all right, like this is getting rough, and even whenever we do sing its praises, I mean, I at least think there are still some bits where I'm like, man, like where was this all season? Or this is great, but it's still a little rough, and this and that. Getting something like this, it's so refreshing. It's so new, and it's just so fucking good. Especially building on something that's already amazing, such as Gotham, the movie, The Batman. It's just great, and I'm just glad that they're able to keep it up week after week. The fucking ending, man. I knew it, and I was even thinking before the episode, like as I'm watching the episode, I'm like, how insane would it be to just have her show up? Like, just have her there. Just have somebody there. I was like, that would be so fucking insane. That'd be so ballsy. And my God, they fucking do it, dude. She's standing there watching them dance. It's an amazing way to leave off the episode. Going into your final stretch. Jesus, dude, it was awesome. And I'm happy that I can trust this show to keep me on the edge of my seat and to just absolutely smack me with something that amazing at the end of the episode. Phenomenal. Yeah. I am absolutely head over heels in love with this show.
Some minor complaints I have for this episode, though. When Sophia's in there staring at him, and it seemed like they did this just to like reiterate to Sophia, oh, this is the right place. But when Victor tells Francis that this was Oz got the power back on, and then she's like, oh, my boy Oz, my boy Oz, like that seemed heavy-handed. Like we didn't need to do that. Like she knows that is Oz's driver. If anything, like if somebody for some reason doesn't, okay, well she doesn't know this woman. Okay, well then she can still take Oz's driver or beat the shit out of Oz's driver and get Oz's driver to tell her where Oz is. But that's a CinemaSins thing. Doesn't matter. But this one, this one I don't think is as much of a CinemaSins thing. Like when he meets with the other crime families, what's to stop them from just killing him and then them becoming the top crime family in New York? Like I get that meeting was for unity and for them all to work together, but like the Zhao, the head of the Chinese family was like this. He was making solid points about Oz, like yo, he betrays everybody he works with. So then, like, okay, kill him, and which I get it. I know for the show, like they can't do that, but I'm just saying, like in an actual sense, kill him. You take control, or just you guys all work together. Like I don't know. It didn't seem very not compelling, but convincing to me. Like why would none of these crime families think, oh, I want all of that. I want all of what the Falcones had or all of the Maronis had, you know?
I took it as they work for them. Like, that's how I took it. Is that maybe that's not their goal? Maybe that's not like... Because I remember Sophia with Oz talking about the family that owned the... it wasn't a strip club. Just the club. I took that as like they're working for them. They're bringing the drugs. They're like asking to come and sling drugs in their area or like in their establishments, in their businesses, in order to increase their network. That's what I took it as, is that like in a sense they're kind of working for them, or that these families don't have the goal of like, we want to be the head honchos. It's just like, I don't know, I guess to them it's more so just like their businesses and like their little areas and like letting you sling drugs in their areas or whatever. That's how I took it.
That's a fair point, because it's like not everybody wants to run for, I guess, accurate right now, President of the United States. Like I'm fine just working my little job of with what I'm doing right now. So that's probably I can buy it. I could buy into that. That's accurate.
Yeah. It's also, I guess I would say two things. Is one, like Oz's offer is essentially like, I already have this operation. Like I'm doing this work, I'm coordinating these things. You can just benefit, you know, take what I have to offer. So if you take out Oz, then you have to fill Oz's position, his connections, and that might mess up operation. So I take it that way, and why they would maybe like respect him more and actually take up his offer. But then the other thing is like, if you're one of these crime families and you kill him, what's to say that you can even just walk into this warehouse and say, hey, new boss, we're in charge, and everything runs the same? Like I don't buy that Oz is just replaceable. If he's able to set this whole thing up. And I think especially with the credibility that he's built for himself and what he was able to accomplish, that lends to them kind of respecting him and taking him a bit more seriously. And therefore, not just immediately saying, oh, thanks for doing this, we'll just kill you and take over. So that would be why I could buy into them, not just immediately taking action.
Our main event?
Venom. Venom. I don't know how the song goes. I'm not gonna try. But Venom 3, The Last Dance.
Let me start.
Okay.
Because I fucking love this movie. I thought
He's
it
lying.
was great. I really had so
lying.
much fun with it. I had so much freaking fun with it. I did.
I want to
I did.
you, bro.
I thought it was a lot of
reached
fun.
your limit on talking.
I thought it was a lot of fun, dude. I mean, I don't take these movies serious. I don't take them serious, and I'm not saying that y'all do at all. But like going into like these Venom movies, I kind of just prepare to just have dumb fun with it. Yeah, show me Venom horse, show me Venom playing slots, like take me on this road trip with them. Like I think it's fun. I think it's a lot of fun. And you know, I'm able to just sit in there for an hour and a half and just have a good time. Like yes, I understand these movies are bad.
Goodness.
I do agree that they are bad. I'm not fighting anybody there. I'm not saying that this is the greatest comic book movie of the year. But I had fun with it, you know. I had a great time, and I think it was a lot of fun. That you have your Morbius, you have your Madam Web, and then, in my opinion, how I look at it, you have your Morbius, you have your Madam Web, and then you have your Venom movies. Like, you know, I told you this last week, Charlie. If I'm able to sit there and be like, yeah, that was fun. I like to see Venom. I think he has a cool design. I think. They do a lot of fun stuff with his action sequences, with his ruthlessness. If I can sit in there, have a good time, and come out, I mean, I'll be happy. I don't care how sloppy it is, because I don't come in and expect these movies to be perfectly paced or structured very well. I just expect it to just... It's like how I attack the Fast and Furious movies. You know, like, I know this is shit. I know that there's no reason these need to keep being made. I don't care if I watch it or not. Like, you know, if we weren't recording, I probably wouldn't have gone to see it, or I would have just waited for it to come on streaming. But we're recording, go in there. All right, you know, I had a great time. I mean, I thought it was fun. I thought the montage at the end, bro, it got me. I'll say, I was straight up, it got me. The montage at the end got me. It was great. I mean, it was gorgeous. What can I say?
Aiden,
let me see what else.
Please, dude. Please, Aiden. Please.
I think...
Bro, stop, man. You're going to dig yourself such a deep hole in my brain, brother.
I am standing on that, and I am standing on that.
Dude, when I watched that fucking montage at the end, I literally envisioned you and I laughing about how stupid it is because of how it looks like a TikTok edit. I literally envisioned that, and you're taking this away from me, bro. You're taking this away from me. What the Oh my God, man.
No, man,
That's, listen, I'm a proponent of, like, if you love something, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to yuck your yum. But just like,
I'm not going to let you yuck my yum, man. I'm not going to let you yuck my yum. I thought it was sweet. I mean, it's just like, I like, it's like, oh, a new Venom movie's coming out. Like, I'm excited to just go, like, turn my brain off and just watch how dumb it is and watch how goofy it is, and just, you know, like, let them bring in Noel. Let them show Noel and how, like, mighty and powerful he is, and how he has this symbiote. Let them do it. Fuck it. Let them do it. Because it's like, I'd rather you do it here and not take it serious and just do whatever the fuck you want and keep it away from Marvel than, like, hold it under a microscope whenever it's time to actually, like, I don't know, if they were ever in a different universe where they had Noel be this endgame threat for a Spider-Man trilogy or whatever that, you know, whatever it is. Let them do it here. Let them get it all out here. And so it's like, yeah, put it all in this movie. Like, do horse Venom, do frog Venom, do all this dumb, wild, wacky shit. Get it all out of your system here. And I can appreciate that for what it is. Cool, have a little dumb montage at the end for these 3 movies that are shit. Yeah, do it. I don't care. But, like, if you're getting it all out of your system here, like, I'll appreciate it for what it is. I'll let myself have fun with it, you know. And so that's what I did. I had a lot of fun with it. I think, oh my God, that moment in the road trip where they're singing the song and Venom's like, you know, like, I would... Fucking awesome, dude. It was so good. Like, I thought those moments there were... Eddie's just kind of like, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like that was kind of me, where it's like, how Eddie is with Venom and how he can get on his fucking nerves. Like, yeah, I could sit all day and be like, dude, fuck, like these movies are shit. Sony, why do you keep making them? Like, you could be doing so much. You could be doing great things with this, yet you're wasting your time on here. And then you get to the end and you're like, I'm kind of gonna miss the dumb fun movie. You know, like I'm kind of gonna miss the October release of just some dumb superhero movie you can turn your brain off. The ultimate dad movie of superheroes. Like, I don't know. And that's what that moment felt like to me, where I'm like, yeah, these are shit. Yeah, they get on my nerves because why are we making them? But, you know, I'll miss it, man. You know, I'll miss it. So, yeah, I thought those two moments were really nice. And, you know, it's stupid. It's a dumb movie. It's bad. But I had fun with it. And, you know, that's ultimately, that's all I wanted out of this, period. So I got what I wanted, you know. I got what I wanted. And I know
Charlie,
other people hate these movies. Other people look at these, and I get it. I'm not one of those. I've never really had that, like, distaste for the Venom movies. Now, like a Madam Web, you know, I could walk in and be like, dude, fuck this. Like, I hate everything about this. This movie sucks. I've never felt that way towards the Venom movies. And I don't know why. But I feel like that helps a lot of me just being like, hey, you know what? This was fun. To whereas I look at a Morbius, I look at a Craven, I look at a Madam Web, and I'm like, dude, fuck all of this. Like, this sucks. Like, I don't care how, like, Charlie, you said last week, I feel like that'll be a lot more of your style and a lot more of your taste. And even when you said that, I was like, you would think, but that still doesn't sell me on the movie. And
Which one, Craven? Or
yeah,
sorry?
Craven. Because you were
Okay.
like, because I was like, I just want to have dumb fun. Like, I just wanted to be violent, gruesome, whatever. Like, just. And you said, oh, I bet you'll probably feel that way towards Craven. And when you said that, I kind of sat back and I was like, I think I even made a face. I'll go back and look. But I was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I will. Because I don't look at those movies that way. The Venom movies, I look at them that way. Where it's like, do whatever cool, wild, wacky shit you want to do with these symbiotes. Fuck it. Throw 6 symbiotes in there. Like, I like, yes, do that shit. I like it. And so I look at the Venom movies in that light, to whereas I don't look at these other ones that same way. I don't know why, but you know, I just do.
I agree with you. I've never looked at the Venom movies that way either, but this one was so bad that I couldn't not. This one is the worst Venom movie by far. This one is absolutely horrible in my mind. Like, what a nothing villain. I wouldn't even count Null as the villain. Just and I don't like this complaint. I'm just saying this as a descriptor. I've always hated the complaint, oh, it's a CGI villain. Like, I think that's dumb. If it looks good and it's a CGI thing, I don't care that it's CGI.
He never
but
interacts
these were just
with Venom at all. Like, he doesn't.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like these cockroach things are nothing villains, bro. They are big CGI cockroach stupid things that just do nothing. Sorry, spoilers ahead for Venom 3. We're going full spoilers. This is worse than Joker 2 for me, man. Like, this was bad. This was very bad, man. Like, this was not good. To things just like overall not making sense whatsoever in both like follow through from previous movies to just dumb things like, I don't know, these cockroach things can only sense when Venom is in full form, but then when they see a figure right in front of them that used to have the shiny glowing yellow thing they're looking for, but now it's smaller and doesn't have it, they can't just think, oh, let me just swing at it anyway. You know, like, I feel like even a dog, I'm imagining they have the minds of dogs. A dog would be smart enough to like, oh, that thing was just that thing. Let me kind of bite that thing because I'm sure it's still the similar thing. Like, brother, I'm sorry. I just thought back to you. I cannot believe you like that montage. I'm sorry, bro. That was horrible. That was that was a bad montage, bro. I'm a sucker for a good TikTok edit that makes me in my feels. That was terrible. The editing of the entire movie really for me I didn't like it. And I never make that complaint, bro. I'm hardly ever one to notice editing, but this editing was terrible, I think. But as for like follow through from previous movies, there's little things like when they're on top of the plane in a previous movie, a jet engine, like the helicopter blades, I think in Venom 1 made that noise made the Venom symbiote freak out. Did it not? When he was on top of one of the buildings in San Francisco, it made the symbiote freak out and they started falling off the building. But now Venom can sit on top of a plane with two loud plane engines, arguably louder than a helicopter, and has no problem with it. No, just chilling. You're just fine. The inclusion of this stupid hippie family was like an artificial way to give stakes to the final the final act of the movie, it seemed like, because there's no other reason for them to be here, like besides some mild comedic relief, and they're dumb. They don't they don't act like I'm not normal people in quotes, but it's just like Eddie threw their food that they just gave them. No reaction from anybody. Nothing. Just a light little like, oh dear. Like, what? You just found this random man and you offered him food and he threw it away. He basically just threw it in the trash in your face without even trying it. And you're just like, oh dear. Oh, well, hey, you want to get in the car with us? While you fall asleep while he's sitting right next to your young child, right? Nothing. You just don't care. You fall asleep. That child is snuggling up right next to this random dude that you picked up, this hitchhiker, and you have no idea what he's gonna do. And like, I think you might have been talking about this scene, Aiden. When they're in the car, Venom says to Eddie, "You're thinking about her, aren't you?" I'm immediately thinking when Venom says that, oh, they must be thinking about, I forget her name, but the blonde girl from the first two movies. That must be who Eddie's thinking about, because we haven't seen anything about her in this movie so far. No, thinking about the Statue of Liberty for some fucking reason. Thinking about the Statue of Liberty. Okay, what? Why are we making this a big? Venom's existed for a long time. And now he cares about the Statue of Liberty. And I know that wasn't the first time it was introduced into the movie. They had talked about going to the Statue of Liberty beforehand. But just why? What a weird thing to make that like the emotional crutch of the movie.
Because he told him that it was put up to welcome visitors to America. People like Venom. Like, come on, man. That's emotional intelligence on another level right there. Of course, that's why he loves it so much. No, it's stupid. You know what else is stupid? When the dad comes out of nowhere with a rocket launcher in Area fucking 51. The other thing is when they walk up to the fence, there's artwork on there as if like, oh, this is a very popular spot where you can get one little look in Area 51. Oh, but there's an opening right next to it. How many fucking people have invaded? Because people have been there, and there's just a convenient open fence that nobody's checked on, I guess. I mean, it's stupid. It's dumb.
Oh my God,
it's funny. It's fun. Whatever.
And like, dude, the girl with the Christmas, they made a big deal about this Christmas pin that she has for some reason. Why? I thought that was going to play into why we should give a shit about her as a character. Nope. But they also focus on her shoes that she brought to work, all to make a smite. Like, there's a camera shot of holding on these shoes for like 3 to 5 seconds. Just no explanation at the beginning of the movie. She changes her shoes. They show her put her shoes in this cubby, and we sit on it and look at it. Okay. All to just make a light little, oh, Eddie took her shoes little thing later on. Like, what are we doing? Why does it matter? And then also this girl who got struck by lightning and now her brother's dead. Okay. All right. And that's why we should care about her, because her brother's dead.
Yeah, and then she gets the
girl I've never seen before.
She gets the lightning Venom. What are you talking? She gets the lightning symbiote. It's cinema.
Is that cool? Because she got struck by lightning? What the flip? That's like, okay. Oh my God, man. And then like the creatures, the cockroach creatures, right? Why? Again, I'm going to assume they have the intelligence of a dog. So I was going to make this whole point about how when they signal for Null to send more creatures to help, I was going to make a point about how it's a loud noise and how the symbiotes react to noises. Why wouldn't it just do that all the time and then separate the symbiotes from their hosts? But assuming that they're not smart enough to realize that, whatever. But still, they're smart enough to know when they need to call for backup. Why did this one wait until the very third act to call for backup and not like at any point earlier in the movie? Because there's a point where it literally gets chopped to pieces in the blade, in the engine of the plane. Why are you not calling for backup right then? But you're calling for backup because you're getting ganged up on by symbiotes, which I've already seen you eat 3 of them, no problem. Why do you need this other one to come help you at this point? I don't know. Like, and dude, the post-credit scene, bro. They thought that was a funny joke. The final post-credit scene. What was the point of that? What was listen? I love that actor. Is like I've seen. He's in Ted Lasso. He's great. He's funny. What was the point of that? No point of that. And then also the first post-credit scene was Null saying he's woken up. How the fuck did he wake up? Venom's dead. The thing doesn't exist. The whole point of this movie doesn't exist anymore. So how did Null wake up? What is happening? This movie is like, at least like, and sure, they fucked up Carnage. They like, don't get me wrong, Carnage was done horribly, but at least he was a villain, bro. These cockroaches are nothing. They are nothing. And at least Eddie and Venom had some sort of arc. They have nothing here. What is like? This is also the worst that Tom Hardy's ever played the character of Eddie Brock, I have to say. He did not, like, he was phoning it in. He had to have been phoning it in this whole time. Half the movie he's bitching about his hangover. Dude, what are we like? Yeah. I struggle to find anything, cuz I would love to say that I loved the action scenes. Dude, Venom hardly fights in this movie. It's the other symbiotes that do all the fighting. Venom hardly ever fully fights this cockroach, one of these cockroach things. He's on the motorbike running away, and then like he has a really cool, admittedly cool sequence where he takes the helicopter blades and cuts the head off of one of them.
He's not even in full Venom form at that point, though. I think it's just Tom Hardy riding a bicycle with the. That's the other, like, yeah, they suppressed a lot of it, being like, oh, I can't be in full Venom form or else they'll find me, and it's like, well, I kind of didn't come to this movie just to see Tom Hardy walking around like looking hot in a suit. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I just didn't. I came to see Venom kick some ass, and it's not really what I'm getting, but whatever. Ben, please.
I just have to stop, bro, because there's.
Thank you. A lot of what Charlie said, I would just like further. I would agree with. There's a few things that I would touch on. First would be my one disagreement. Well, it's kind of an agreement. Tom Hardy, I think, played the character as well as he could, given the substance of this movie. So I don't really fault Tom Hardy as much as I fault they didn't give him much to work with.
I will also add he was a writer on this one too. I will add that. He was a writer on this one. I don't know how much he wrote, but he was a writer on this one.
Sure. So I don't know, like, I'm not necessarily saying I disagree with you, because this is the worst that he's played Venom, but I don't think it's because his actual acting and portrayal was worse than previous times, as much as it is like he doesn't have anything to work with here. So it's like kind of a disagreement, kind of not, basically saying it's not really his fault. But come on, man. Okay, we're going to start with Null / the creatures, because I feel like there is so much to unpack here. And Charlie, you already talked about some of it. But Null can open up a Doctor Strange portal to anywhere and drop these creatures in, okay? So you can talk about how, like, you know, the first creature didn't signal until the end of the movie. Yeah, that's a very significant point. But also, we see so many creatures in Null's little hideout, or wherever he is, other universe, we'll call it, for just like the sake of, you know, trying to represent it properly. Why is he like sending just a few across the entire globe sporadically? You would think like he would send everyone, like literally send all of the creatures, and there's no specific reason given as to why he couldn't do that, because later in the film, he does that. Charlie, what were you about to say?
The only thing I was gonna say, like, maybe he doesn't know, because like the symbiotes could have crash landed on multiple different planets, so maybe other ones got sent to other planets, is what I would say. But I still agree with you though, because as soon as like it was discovered that even when that last one called it for backup, like that should mean like, hey, I forget what they call it, but the device thing that they want is here. Noel should have sent every single one he had there. That's what should have happened. But
yes,
sorry.
Yeah. And then specifically going into this device, a couple things to say about it. Which I have a video coming out this weekend, kind of just ranting about this movie. So you guys are getting a huge preview as to a lot of the things that I talk about. But the movie basically tells us that we can see 99% of Venom and everything's totally fine. The device doesn't go off. There's no indication. It's only if we see 100% of Venom. But it doesn't make sense, because then the movie like never shows us 99% of Venom. It's either like, call it 50%, where his head is just sticking out of Tom Hardy's back, or it's Venom decides to go 100%. And it's like, there's no rationale. Venom could literally just like, go into where they're half faced or whatever, and that would be totally fine according to how the movie presents it. There's no rationale for why that is the case, why it's only, you can do it partially but not fully and you're fine. But also, furthermore, literally there should be zero reason why Venom would ever go 100%. Literally, just like barely don't, and you're totally fine. There is nothing to be concerned about, especially when you compare that with how stupid they make the monsters. Like, when you pair those two things together, there's actually no threat. There's literally no threat in this movie. Everything could be totally fine. I mean, the threat of Eddie and Venom being convicted of crime, of murder, sure, yeah. Threat. But when it comes to Noel, there's actually nothing. And the problem is that I know just from like the comics, Noel is supposed to be this incredibly powerful character. And even, the start of the movie, they try and present him that way. And then they immediately make him feel like one of the dumbest and most incompetent villains that we've gotten in a long time. Like, sits around, does nothing, doesn't utilize all of these creatures, and then like even within that, his army of creatures is stupid, which isn't like necessarily his fault. But when they made the decision to make the creatures the villain, I mean, Noel's not really the villain, it's the creatures as an extension of Noel. They made them, I mean, just awful. I mean, they tried to make them scary, they can shred through humans and symbiotes and whatever. And, when you first see that, you're like, oh, dang, like these are, this is a big deal. Not really a big deal, because they're just stupid. So everything that has to do with like how Noel connects to the creatures, connects to Venom, and how much we can see of Venom and whatnot, all of that I think is just, it's awful. It's absolutely terrible with how they handled it. And to the point of the action scenes, they made the excuse for why we can't see Venom 100%. And so then we get what I think are easily the worst action scenes of this trilogy. I mean, say what you will about Let There Be Carnage, that at least had fun action scenes. And like, you can point to a lot of fun things with Carnage and with the Venom and with the finale and whatnot. And this, they're just like, you know what? We made an excuse for why we can't see Venom 100%, so we're going to barely see him at all. That's what they say.
It was like a way to save money on CGI or something, bro.
Which, like, okay, Venom fish, Venom horse, fine. I'm there to see Venom. So, like, have both, but don't neglect one. Like, it doesn't make sense. The other random, like, little question with that is, obviously we know that Venom and Eddie have a specific symbiote connection or whatnot. They haven't really clearly stated if the symbiotes can live from animals, but like, would Venom horse or Venom fish not set off the like tracking device that Noel is looking for, because it's a fully I mean, I guess I don't know, because it's taking the form of the creature, so is it different? That's like cinema sins. It doesn't really matter. But so yeah, worst action scenes because of the stupid excuses that they made for dumb reasons. All of it's just stupid. Furthermore, like Aiden started off by talking about the Venom movies. I agree in general, Venom movies and then like Madam Web, Morbius. But this movie is like barely above Morbius and Madam Web in my opinion. It's much closer to those movies than it is, say, the first Venom film. And I always have enjoyed Tom Hardy, the dynamic between Eddie and him, and the humor and whatnot in the series. It's always been fun. I don't think I laughed a single time. This is the least enjoyable. The humor just doesn't work. I mean, half of the jokes are either his hangover or the fact that he is not wearing shoes.
Shoes, yeah.
Those are the two biggest things that they joke about this entire stinking movie. And then to talk about the ending, one, I agree with Charlie. The montage doesn't do anything for me.
It was so bad.
And then two, to talk about the post-credit scene. First of all, I mean, I feel like I waited 20 minutes for that post-credit scene.
Oh my god.
Those are the
so long.
longest credits I have ever sat through. I'm not even joking. I'm pretty sure it was like 4 or 5 different songs played.
Yeah, dude.
In those credits.
It's insane.
And then all of that just to get the second post-credit scene is one of just like the weirdest and most pointless post-credit scenes. Rivals that of Morbius as something that's just like, it's just out there, and I don't think that anything's gonna come of it. Like nothing's gonna happen. It feels so pointless. But something that Charlie mentioned was the post-credit scene. I think both of them really undermine the entire point of this movie. Like, if the entire point of this movie is that Venom had to sacrifice himself in order to basically save the universe or the symbiotes from Noel, then having two post-credit scenes where Noel is going to be totally fine, and then the next one where, you know, maybe Venom's sacrifice wasn't actually a sacrifice. Either route you go with that makes this movie pointless, because either Venom isn't dead or Noel's there and he's going to kill everybody. No matter which route you take it, it's undermined. It literally doesn't matter.
Am I stupid? Was Venom like on that cockroach or something? At the end?
Not on the cockroach, but that vial was the small vial of Venom that was left in the bar.
Oh shit!
Holy shit! I had no.
Okay.
I literally
Yeah,
thought,
dude.
I literally thought the only reason that
Okay.
post-credit scene was there was to show that guy leaving. That's all I thought.
Yeah,
it
dude,
was.
me too. I mean,
unless I interpreted it.
I
as,
think you're right.
There's
I
no,
think
because
you're
there's a
right.
reason that they linger on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right.
They got that vial from the bar. The commander or military guy. He got that vial from the bar, and we specifically, they introduce it in the finale that characters are like, they can take the small vials and, you know, use the symbiotes or whatever. And so to me, that was the indication that that little bit of Venom is still out there. Mm-hmm. I guess that makes it more significant than, you know, what you guys are perceiving the post-credit scene to be. But I don't think it's significant either way. Like, even with that little piece, you still have all of those issues.
And I agree. It 100% undermines what we just watched. Like,
yeah. Either way they take it, either Venom's dead and Noel's still gonna succeed, or Venom's alive. Like, no matter what, there's no good path that follows from what they presented could potentially be happening. Is that everything? I don't even know. I mean, lots of useless stuff, like the hippie family just to be there to be in the final battle after just, you know, waltzing into Area 51 and grabbing some guns. That makes sense. Also, even the fact that, like, they're decommissioning Area 51, but
I think that whole thing was literally just to get the family involved. Because, like, what other purpose does decommissioning Area 51 serve?
yeah,
Because the
but
dad's whole thing is like he wants to go there before it's fully decommissioned.
the other thing about it is like it's not like they were gonna decommission Area 51 and then like it's not like it was gonna become like a tourist attraction, right? Because they still have the other area that's hidden right there. So it's like I don't even think I agree that it served the purpose of bringing the family in, because if we're being realistic, they wouldn't shut down Area 51 if there's other confidential stuff literally like on the same property. Like it's not like they were disconnected by much. Literally like through a wall, like in a mountain, that was where stuff was happening. So the fact that Area 51, even if it's being decommissioned, is that accessible for people to just waltz in and grab bazookas is like, okay, we're just throwing everything out the window at this point. But yeah, I really like. I agree. This is worse than Joker 2, and I even would say part of the reason why this is so disappointing to me is this year has been really bad for comic book movies. Deadpool and Wolverine only being the only exception of a movie that I would say is like, yeah, it's good. And then you basically have 3 movies that are like really close together: Joker 2, Venom 3, Madam Web, and they're not that far apart, like in between those, in my opinion.
Raven's gonna save us.
Sheesh, man.
Anyways,
Crazy.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think I have anything more to rant about. It's just, it's the more I think about it and reflect back on it, the more I'm like, how did this even happen? Like, you didn't, you just, the first Venom movie is fun enough. It's simple, nothing great. The second one, yeah, they took some missteps, but they still kept kind of the core of what at least made it enjoyable. And now they're sacrificing all of that. Like, how do you just keep degrading and lose what even makes these movies fun?
Yeah,
I don't get how you fumble that hard.
Mrs. Chen's edition too was just nothing. Like,
oh, she's in Vegas. She's rich.
yeah, and all that, because Venom just has to dance with her, even though Venom's the one that set up these stakes of like, hey, we can't have you in full mode, man. We can't do that, Eddie. We can't do that. And oh, dude, no, Eddie, I need to dance. I have to dance with Mrs. Chen. And then also after that, these creatures are so stupid. These cockroach things. Why does it decide to follow the helicopter thing of all? It has not been shown at any previous point in the movie to follow unique looking things, but it decides to follow this helicopter for whatever reason and follow it down into Area 51 for no like, dude, it didn't even, like, the plane that passed over and that Eddie and Venom were on, it didn't give a shit about that until Venom was like fully venomized, and then it like, dude, oh my god, man, I don't know. And also, how did Venom know that acid thing was an acid thing? How did you know that that's how that operated? And so he gathered all the cockroach creatures together, walked under the acid bath, and was like, "Yo, man, turn this thing on." What? Like, dude. And then also and granted, sure, it's better than nothing, but puts a steel door on top of Eddie to protect him from the acid that is supposed to disintegrate everything it touches. Like, what are we talking about, man? Oh my god. And how does Eddie survive the explosion afterwards? It was literally about to kill the Christmas tree girl a mile away. But Eddie's right next to it, and he's fine.
The steel door, man. Stronger than you think.
Stronger than you think, he says. Yeah, I mean, I knew that they were going to use the acid thing just because they were very intentional about shoving it into your face in the beginning of the movie. But yeah, just all of it's kind of stupid. But
Yeah,
I did
I gotta
just
be
see.
done talking about this movie.
Yeah, I did just see on Letterboxd that Mr. Aiden H Talks posted his review of Venom: The Last Dance. Only saying, and I quote, "pretty cool" sunglasses emoji with
cool,
a
Pretty cool.
3-star rating.
It's pretty cool, man. I had a good time with it. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I agree. It's shit.
cool.
A lot of this stuff doesn't make sense, but you know what? Like, I had a pretty good time, and I think it was a really easy watch. Just pretty cool, man.
Ooh, an
Pretty cool
easy
movie.
watch. That's a weird way to describe it, man.
Pretty cool movie, man. I had a good time. I had a really good time.
Hey, I'm glad you had a good time. But
So, Charlie, the last thing that I'll ask you, because I know you don't want to talk about it anymore, is your rating. You know, if Aiden gives it a 6, where would you fall?
two out of 10, probably. I don't. There's nothing about this movie that I enjoy, other than like the CGI with the symbiotes looks pretty good, and the creatures, pretty good. No good action scenes, no good character moments. The only thing that makes it from being a 1 is the good CGI.
Maybe I'm a little generous. I gave it a 3, but kind of same ballpark. Just rough.
This is the worst movie I've seen in a long time.
I'm just
man. Like
baffled that you said Joker 2 was. Get the fuck out.
Dude, it is Aiden.
Fuck out of here. At least you can
Aiden,
sit through.
please look at me.
At least you can sit through Venom and at least be like, oh yeah, like this sucks, but like it's cheerful. You're literally sitting there watching some dude in a mental asylum get R-worded. What are we doing? Like, what do you take away from that? What do you take away from that? You get to see Venom go crazy and go ham on these cockroach things.
When did he go
all
ham?
of these,
Aiden,
all
Aiden,
of these symbiotes.
when did Venom go ham? When did Venom go ham, Aiden?
2 or 3 times,
Tell me,
bro. The 2 or 3
tell me.
times.
Oh yeah, really?
2
2 or 3 times?
It's better
Because
than
I don't
watching
remember
Joker
seeing that.
get sexually assaulted and touched in prison and then killed. What the fuck?
I don't
man,
even.
are we doing?
I don't even think Venom was on screen for 2 to 3 minutes. So
I'd rather watch that thousands of times more than watch Joker 2 again.
I mean, okay, just because Aiden brought it up on like a grander point, you can't compare. It's hard to compare every movie to each other, and so sometimes you just have to individually rate movies and put them on a list. Which I did. I do. Everyone does, right? So I went to go see Smile 2 and Terrifier 3. Did a little horror double feature, and as I was placing these movies, I was like, dang, am I really gonna put Terrifier 3 above whatever movie that's like, you know, more of a lighthearted, happy movie or whatever? And it's like you can't really compare them, but you judge them individually and then they just kind of fall where they fall. And in that regard, like,
Charlie's wrong.
I agree.
Yeah,
like, this is just on its own. This is a worse movie. I would rate it lower than I would rate Joker 2. I'm not gonna try and compare the individual moments and whatnot. It's like,
that's crazy.
Just what it is,
Dude,
you know.
Aiden, let's look at it. The performances in Joker 2 are all better. The cinematography, the score, everything, like the pacing even of Joker 2 much better. And it's a slower movie too, and I'm saying that. Like, the editing of Joker 2 is much better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Like, if I'm going in there to like watch, I don't give a fuck, man. Like, I walked out of Joker 2 wanting to reevaluate my life, just being like, ugh, I feel gross. Like, what the fuck was that? I leave Venom 3 being like, oh, it was fun. Cool send off. Yeah, you know, it was all right. It was good.
Cool send.
Hey, Charlie, don't forget, amidst this whole conversation, Aiden liked the montage.
Missing the ones that we got. Shut up, Aiden.
It's
Shut
the
up.
ones that we get when the night was a dream.
No.
Bring back all the memories. Hey, memories, man. I'm done talking about this movie.
Oh my god, bro. There was like, I don't know how you. I am done. I really am done after this. It's just like, There were no action scenes with Venom, bro. Like the other symbiotes, we were forced to watch the third and final movie, and it's not gonna be final. Obviously, they're showing Venom, like Venom's gonna come back somehow. But the third and final installment, bro, we're watching Venom run away on a motorcycle while every other symbiote goes there and tries to whoop the asses of these cockroaches while Venom runs away scared. Oh my gosh, bro.
We should have planned on talking about like Smile 2 instead.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, take us out of here, bro. I'm done. I'm pissed off now.
I mean, yeah, I'm annoyed. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in to this episode. We appreciate you very much. Next week will be exciting because we get to talk about how they wrapped up Agatha All Along, as well as our penultimate episode for The Penguin. So that should be exciting to cover both of those shows. And also it's exciting because after these shows, we're gonna have the ability to, I should say, to fill in and talk about some other media, potentially do more rankings, tier lists, or drafts of some kind and whatnot as these shows are ending. So that's an exciting prospect to look forward to in the coming weeks. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, leave us a comment or send us a text. Either way, feel free to reach out. We will read everything. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the Words from the Nerds podcast. Sayonara.
Adios.
Peace.